The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the complete that. He's crazy.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Hello race fans, and welcome to the Global Sim Racing channel, where today we'll bring you something extra special at Talladega Superspeedway, a special event hosted by the Premier Racing League, bringing together drivers from PRL, IROC, and Lionheart in a Week 13 fun race showdown in a car that was made to have Sammy Hagar's I Can't Drive 55 blasting from the stereo if it had one. Welcome to the broadcast, the Premier Racing League's Talladega 500. That's right, folks, we are racing the Old Car of Tomorrow NASCAR Cup car tonight with those restrictor plates removed, and we are in for some incredible speeds here today. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Adam Young, and helping bring me the action today are Samuel Raymond and Bill Soup Zonk, sitting in the GSRC. See, Soup, I've been practicing. Truck today is Joe Peak. He'll be punching the buttons, and as hard as it might be to make the three of us look good, he's going to do his best. He'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sam, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about Talladega?
Yeah, let's talk about Talladega. It is famous among oval racing fans. Many of them know that it is the largest oval that NASCAR goes to, 2.66 miles in length. It is larger than Daytona, Indianapolis, and Pocono, but the thing that really mixes races up here is that banking. 33 degrees banking means that the cars can, and usually do, run flat out here, and that's when the restrictor plates on these cars. However, we might not see the same today, despite the fact that it's large and got a lot of banking, because these Car of Tomorrow cars do not have the restrictor plates on them, and there will be no free repairs with them. So with these high speeds, well, we may be looking at about 27 or so starters right now. I'm not sure we'll have all of those drivers running at the end of a race, though.
Oh, I have a feeling you're going to be right, Sam, and thank you for that. Now, Soup, of course, we are talking about a special event here today, so it's a non-championship race featuring three different leagues. Excuse me. So, what's the scoop, Soup, on the race?
I like that. Soup scoop. Okay, well, the car is a Gen 5. You talked about it earlier. It's dubbed the Car of Tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is a bit outdated, kind of like going to Disneyland, Tomorrowland, and hearing someday we'll be able to make video phone calls. But what will be exciting is no restrictor plates, so the top speed will be ludicrous. Setups are open. There is no fuel restriction, but honestly, nobody really cares about that because the length of your stint is going to be all about the tires. Yellows are on and will hinge on the attitude of the automated race steward. You never know how they're feeling every day. Usually if you spin on the track, on the racing area of the track, they're going to call it yellow. If you spin in the pits or off into the grass, probably no yellow there. Restarts will be double file. It's a if you break it, you bought a type fast repair. No fast repairs, which should be the vaccine to any yellow flag epidemics that we may have. And the weather and as the iRacing default. Now the two-dimensional fans will be happy as the air temperature is only 78 degrees. Drivers are maybe a little tough because this Alabama sun is pounding down on the track. Temperature is 103 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not probably going to help the tires all that much. Back to you, Adam.
Yeah, and thanks, Bill. If I may, I'll talk a little bit more about the car. Of course, as you mentioned, this is the old NASCAR Cup Class A vehicle. Of course, if you're familiar with iRacing, they dubbed this the Class A, and it was the Car Tomorrow when it was introduced. A little while back, iRacing took those restrictor plates off the cars at all these big tracks, and that gets these cars up in excess of 245 miles an hour, and I can tell you a 3,450-pound stock car moving at those speeds is going to be no joke. Tire wear will be an issue today, which is something we don't normally see here. I think it's going to make for an exciting race, and we might even see this field spread out some if we can go a long stretch without seeing a yellow. Now, Sam, you helped GSRC a lot with some of the PRL series races and also the IROC series. Any drivers you're going to have your eye on here today?
Well, Drew Carroll was the fastest driver in practice at a 39.491. We've seen him race before in various Wednesday night series that we've had here on the GSRC, and he is usually quite fast and sometimes aggressive, although not too aggressive to the point that he causes a lot of wrecks, but to the point where you're like, boy, that could have been a wreck. So I think we're definitely going to want to keep an eye on Drew Carroll, obviously fastest in practice. They're starting qualifying right now. Ricky Hardin is also up there, and Scott Eckridge. Robert Barney, he's usually an interesting driver to keep an eye on because he kind of just hangs around there in the top 10s. And in the in IROC, I believe it is this year, he doesn't actually have a race win, but he's always there at the end of a race, and I think that's going to be key here today, Adam. because I think surviving and just being in the top 5 at the end of a race is, well, that top 5 could easily turn into a win if you keep the car in one piece.
Absolutely, Sam. And Bill, now you're going to be on deck here. Same thing. I know you've called some Lionheart races. Who will you be watching out for?
Well, Brian Yasek, but I'm not really sure if he's a true Lionheart guy. He goes both ways on that. Maybe the Sergeant Trevor Brissett, he's qualified 10th. Somebody to keep an eye on. I know him from the open wheelers in the Dallara car. Jason Rabarge is down there. Michael Gray is always good. But honestly, the guy that I'm going to be pulling for is my booth partner so often, Sean Crackers Ambrose. Right now, practice time of 19th. We're going to see what he can do out there, see if he can bring a little dignity back into the Super Crackers team. Go get him, Sean.
And I've got to give a shout out real quick to Devin Cannon, and this is only because he is running my favorite paint scheme ever, or at least something emulating it, the old 1996 Bill Elliott scheme. Just I have to throw that out there.
The McDonald's car.
I grew up. I even have an old die-cast car of that in the other room, so I don't think anybody actually remembers that car. But I'm really thinking that today's going to be a lot of fun. I've raced here a little bit, a couple of fun races and stuff like that, and every time I've done it, it's a blast, and I'm just really excited about the show I think these guys are going to put on for us here today.
I'm liking the look of a whole field out here, Adam, all these cars. I don't know if it's back in the day when the Gen 5 car after Mother car was on iRacing, not too many drivers were concerned about sponsors, but there's so many NASCAR Sprint Cup Series lookalikes out here. Pierre Daigle has Kurt Busch's scheme. Brian Hubble is in Jimmy Johnson's low scheme. There's a couple of Kyle Busch cars, a couple of Jeff Gordon cars. If you don't have a favorite driver, just pick your favorite NASCAR driver. Someone's driving it out there, Bill.
Yeah, and I've had to go into my mixer here and turn down the volume because these cars are loud here at Talladega. I'm used to doing some GT3 stuff and some Formula Renault. We're not quite as noisy. Boy, these cars are really, feel like I'm right at the track. Very, very loud. A lot of echo. See, it was so loud it was deafening to the rest of the group.
Almost loud enough I couldn't hear you there for a second. But so far, just real quick, Robert Barney is sitting on the provisional pole here so far. Of course, we got qualifying going on right now. Setting some really fast speeds. I think some of these guys are having a little bit of fun when their qualifying runs end too, which I guess I would be too. But a very close field as you would expect at a track like this. Now Ricky Harden taking that provisional top spot, about a minute left in qualifying.
So what we're going to do on pit stops, usually we monitor for fuel. This time we're going to keep an eye on the how far they can go on a set of tires and how quickly their pace falls off, which should be interesting to see. I still think somebody's going to have the idea of seeing how long they can make it set of tires last and maybe trying to win it on, I guess it wouldn't be a fuel strategy pit stop, it would be a rubber strategy pit stop.
Yeah, we of course we were talking about Sean Ambrose a little while ago. He popped his head in here, and the first thing he said is 10 laps, 10 laps on tires. So yeah, rubber is definitely going to play a big role here. Everybody's going to be really hard pressed, I think, to really try to stretch it. I think that they'll be nuts, really, quite frankly, if they do.
Well, I know iRacing talked about the new build, and we're just into the new build here. 36 hours into it, I guess. They talked about that the tire wear was going to be different. Is that part of the thing, or is it just the nature of the cars and the combination with the track? What do you think, Adam?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the new surface model, and I'm ready to see what they're going to do, how it's going to react here, because it's changing the way that heat's transferred to the tires and the tires transfer to the surface. It factors in a lot more things around it, like even the shadows coming off the catch fence and the wall could play a role as far as the track temperature, which is absolutely incredible. But it's going to be races like this where you might actually expose some stuff, so it could be interesting. But everybody's getting set up for the grid here. Of course, it's a really, really long pace lap that we'll have, but we'll only have one. So let's go ahead and start talking about the grid and how everybody's going to line up here, guys. Starting on the pole, mentioned him a minute ago, being on the provisional pole, Ricky Harden. And Ricky Harden's always fast, no matter where he shows up. Robert Barney in second.
Inside of the second row is the switch hitter James Krahula. We see him in both of these series. And then Jason Robarge we see from the Lionheart. Sam?
Yeah, and then on the fifth row here, after their 2 qualifying laps each driver had, we got Drew Carroll, who was fastest in practice, who'll start 5th, lined up alongside Joe Hassett there, rounding out row 3.
Row 4, the inside, Ricky Manzo. Outside, Jeffrey Gilliam.
9th position, Woodrow Mahan running that one there. And outside of him will be Justin Roden.
Brian Yarzik, never heard of that guy before in my life. He'll be starting in 11th position alongside Calvin Filarski. Adam?
Michael Gray starting on the inside of row 7. Brian Hubble starting on the outside of row 7 in 14th.
15th spot goes to Pierre Nightingale and the quiet cannon, Devin Cannon.
Dylan Lee will be 17th, Scott Eckridge 18th, and the reason Scott Eckridge has a time 3 minutes 9 seconds off the pace is because he was just sitting at the checkered flag, waiting for the flag to drop, and then he finally rolled across the line and completed his lap. I have no idea why he did that, but he lines up the slowest car in qualifying 18th.
And then from there, Tony Schoen, we see Tony a lot. Trevor Bissett on the outside of row 10.
Ryan Bird and Chris Gutierrez make up row 11.
Yeah, Chris Gutierrez back after second fastest in practice. Jesse Fowler and Jonathan Lawrence on row 12.
On the inside of row 13, Norman Plitier, excuse me if I'm totally butchering that name, the third. Carson Albin running in 26.
All these drivers not putting in qualifying times. 27th position, Sean Crackers Ambrose and Mark Nobert.
Yeah, and then you see Don Runkle rounding out the field there. Norm Pelletier, we just mentioned him, meant to be starting in 25th. He just connected to the server, so I'm guessing he was having internet issues. He'll be starting from the pits.
Yeah, and speaking of starting from the pits, a couple cars already lined up there with Chris Gutierrez and Scott Eckridge already saying, hey, I'm going to start from the pits. And that might work out here because I think once these tires start going away, that it's going to be, it might get a little bit nuts. I imagine they're probably going to start calm here and then things get kind of crazy from there.
Yeah, I'm thinking a bit of the opposite, Adam. I think we're going to see a bit of a pack race going on for the first couple of laps, and then they'll start to see spread out. But we're about to find out. The green flag's about to drop, Adam.
Absolutely. The Mustang pace car getting ready to pull off here at Talladega. And, of course, once it does, cars have to go all the way around the tri-oval here, and they'll pull around, passing the Aaron's logo. Talladega logo is the center part of the tri-oval. And here we go. Green flag is out at Talladega.
They're still going to be building up speed for the first lap.
You get a good sense already of how just loud and powerful those V8 engines are in these Gen 5s. Of course, the Gen 6s actually have a little bit less horsepower in these cars.
They're already going faster than what they would be doing all race long if they had restrictor plates on. Robert Barney to the low side, he takes the lead.
Good move by Robert Barney up there. This is going to be one of those races where you're probably going to see that lead swap hands quite a bit, assuming that they're able to stay up there. In fact, Robert Barney already being challenged on the outside, on the inside by Ricky Harden. Ricky Harden going to get edged out at the line by about a car length as they come through to complete lap 1, heading into turn 1.
Even in the first lap, we had one of the drivers running in the top 10 scrape a wall over in 3 and 4. Jeffrey Gilliam.
Somebody in the wall hard in the back.
Pierre Deglay is in the wall, the number 14 car. Looks like he's going to be able to keep it going, but it's
got one car upside down in the back.
Yeah, Calvin Filarski hit the wall coming out of turn 2 as well. I think we had 2 or 3 cars have a similar incident. Filarski smoking, turning back up the track. That's what brought the caution out.
Taking a look here on the replay, looking at the back at Kevin Filarski, and he gets kind of hit here, I think, as they come off the corner. I'm not sure if somebody got loose. Yeah, he got loose coming off the wall, ends up spinning it, gets tagged again, back up across the track, right in front of my guy, Devin Cannon. Puts him up on his side and goes for a wild ride there down the backstretch.
And Dylan Lee was rolling also in that. That was all kind of involved. When we first saw it call out, one car was in the wall. I think it might have been reacting to what was happening up front.
I don't know, Bill, because I wasn't here for the whole practice session, but what I saw at the end of practice, they weren't really racing as packs. And I think having them all race as a pack here this early on in the race, and we see a couple of hard hits there, that they weren't ready for the way the air was going to push them around out of turn 2. We saw a lot of drivers just slide up and hit that wall.
Joe Hassard saying that he barely kept it off the wall. Everybody having a hard time out there. Yeah, I bet you the pack racing, Sam, I think you may have hit something there. Maybe catching these guys by surprise.
Leaders stay out, but some cars are coming in at them. Ricky Hardin was the race leader when the caution flew, and about the top 3 or so cars stay out on track here. A lot of the drivers from the middle of the field coming in, including James Krahula, the guy kind of putting this all on here. He's racing the number 5 today. He's coming in for a set of 4 fresh Goodyears, or maybe 2. No, it's going to take 4. I have a feeling, Bill, if anyone comes in the pits today, they will take 4.
Yeah, Drew Carroll, Riley Monzo coming in, everybody coming in, all the guys that were in the back. Ryan Bird. It looks like everybody's taking a nice long pit stop. Yeah, I believe it looks like 4 tires for everybody, maybe only 2. Maybe over 2 for Carroll. His pit stop was considerably shorter than the rest. Carroll, Yazik probably only took 2, and so did Mark Nobert. I think everybody else is a 4-tire stop.
And of course, one of the advantages here at Talladega is those really long pace laps. So these guys that got the damage will be able to hang out in the pits, try to get it fixed up a little bit. At these speeds that we're running, aerodynamics are going to be so important here for today. And that's going to be one thing, too. You're probably not going to see a whole lot of bumping or anything like that because, well, these cars get so light at these speeds also. So that'll be something that we're going to go ahead and keep an eye on here today as well.
Drivers who have not come out of the pits, Calvin Filosky, we saw him in the. Dylan Lee still in there. Carson Abe is still in there. Devin Cannon.
Yeah, I'm showing that Dylan Lee and Carson Abe have actually retired from the race, Bill.
Yeah, Lee was upside down. I think Norbe got a hard hit too, so.
Well, no free repairs, and when you're going 250 miles an hour, I mean, being in the wreck in this race is like being in the wreck in an F1 car.
Even light impacts at these speeds are not light impacts.
Well, no fast repairs is the only thing that's going to get the announcers and the race drivers home in time before the turns over to Thursday.
Pretty much. And, just give an update on Race Chat. Everybody thinks they're Matthew McConaughey in here all of a sudden. Yeah. So it's a very, very entertaining group of guys. They all know it's a fun race for the most part. I think that's part of the reason, too, why you're going to see a lot of fun racing here tonight. Once they can get a green flag run going, of course, we're getting ready to complete caution number 1. The cars are lined up 2 by 2 now. And we're rounding turn 2 here on the final pace lap before we go back to green. Of course, the race today, 188 laps, and which comes out to just a little bit over 500 miles. I think it's like 501 or something like that. And, of course, we're only on lap 5 of 188.
Well, if it went green the whole way, these cars are averaging about 250 miles an hour. We get done in 2 hours.
That's right.
Top 12 drivers have stayed out. And they only had, 2 laps on their rubber, so shouldn't they be that big of a deal?
Our director just pointed out we've got 3 different people in this race who have commentated for GSRC before. Sean Ambrose, Brian Yazik, and James Krahula. If you want to see more of us commentators race, be sure to check out iRacing Live midday this Saturday Eastern Time, because we're going to be in the iRacing Broadcasters Cup, I think I'm calling it, and I'm going to win that, so be sure to check it out.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be in that. We'll see if Work wants to play a role in that. And, of course, we forgot to mention Mark also as part of the GSRC crew there. But the cars are rounding the tri-oval. Pace car has pulled in. I see somebody coming into the pits right at the back of the pack. Green flag is back out. Ricky Harden gets a pretty good start as they head into turn 1. Right behind him right now, you have Robert Barney, and right behind him is Jason Robarge. On the outside of Jason Robarge is Joseph Hassard as they round 1 and 2. And we'll see if everybody gets through cleanly here.
Interesting to see that Jeffrey Gilliam stayed out despite the fact that he scraped the wall on lap 2. Lap 1, actually.
You know, they make it down the backstretch just fine. I didn't see any major incidents there. Ricky Harden already trying to take a little bit more of a higher line, especially through 3 and 4. Of course, at these speeds and this track, one of the problem areas you're going to have to watch out for is the exit of row 2 and the exit of turn 4. And Ricky Harden holds on to the lead after Robert Barney tries to make a move on the inside. Ends up paying the price for trying to make that move.
Yeah, that was a bit hectic there. Oh, and we got
multiple cars. Oh, we got another big one back here.
And there's still one car on the track. Brian Hubble slid back up the track, and a couple more collected into him.
Involved, Trevor Bassett is involved in this one.
See, Jeffrey Gilliam is involved.
Yeah, well, Jeffrey Gilliam, he didn't start the wreck because the car on the high side of him hit the wall and then came down into him. But that's kind of what kicked it off. Oh, okay, yeah, 2 different incidents going on there again, it seems like.
Ooh, look at the airtime that Brian Hubble got just a second ago.
Meanwhile, when the caution flew, Ricky Hardin and Jason Robarge were the top 2 drivers.
Seeing a lot of cars having their days ended early here. Now two major incidents.
Jonathan Lawrence, Chris Gutierrez has tried to call out some of the drivers in there. Jeffrey Gilliam, I think, was in it.
Yeah, well,
Justin Roden.
Yeah, there we get a replay. It was the car above Jeffrey Gilliam got in the wall and came back down. I think I was Brian Hubble in the 21 Lowe's machine.
It looked like... go ahead, Sam. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think it was Brian Hubble got in the wall, bounced back down, collected Jeffrey Gilliam, spun back up on the track, and they got into him. Anyway, pit road is open. The top 2 stay out, but everyone else comes in.
And it looks like right behind is actually another separate incident. Jonathan Lawrence actually got into the wall as well. And then I think even behind it, we had somebody get taken out just because of people checking up. So definitely a multifaceted incident here today. I'm really surprised, considering what we were hearing about tires, that the top 2 are still staying out. Granted, they don't have any damage or anything like that, only a couple laps on the tires, but the tires themselves are really only good for 10 laps. It'd be interesting to see some of these faster guys, like Joe Hassard. Of course, we all know Joe Hassard's pretty fast. How is he going to be here as they come to green and having fresh tires?
There is a time limit on this race, by the way, 4 hours 55 minutes. Hopefully we won't hit that.
Well, that would put it about 1 o'clock in the morning my time, so...
Okay, well, here's the drivers who came in the first time and then decided to stay out the next time. So you have the driver in third, Drew Carroll, Ricky Monzo, Ryan Bird, Don Hunkel, or I'm sorry, fonts are small here, Don Runkle stayed out. Now, those 4 drivers came in on that first stop, then stayed out. Everybody else behind them have decided to come in this time. So they'll be making their first stop. The only people who are still staying out, like Adam had mentioned, is our leader, Ricky Harden, and Jason Robarge.
Calvin Filarski, Brian Hubble, and Trevor Bissett have officially retired from the race. And we have 18 cars on the lead lap because Jeffrey Gilliam, I think, just got the lucky dog, which wouldn't make sense though, because he was on the lead lap to start with. So that wouldn't be the case, but we have 18 cars on the lead lap, several cars 1 lap down just trying to get repairs. I think you're still going to have a decent over 20 cars competing here in our next stint.
Yeah, right now we were with the 18 on the lead lap. I mean, that's still, I guess, considering the fact we've already had 2 major wrecks, it could be much worse. Granted, you don't really want to tell that to the likes of Trevor Bassett right now. I'm pretty sure is probably upset that his race was cut short. But at the same time, these things could have been much worse.
A lot of drivers coming in right now to get fresh rubber, including Runkle, who was one of the cars that stayed out after the pits were open. He's come in with the rest of the guys.
And it sounds really obvious to say, but the biggest problem that these drivers are going to face with regards to these wrecks is their speed. If someone is spinning halfway down the back straight and the caution flies, well, if you were only going 190 miles an hour, you could slow down, get on the apron, probably be down to about 80 miles an hour by the time you go by them. At 250, someone even half a mile away from you is going to come up in just a matter of a couple of seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's one thing too, that if you haven't had a chance to drive one of these cars, especially Talladega, is these cars when you're going 240, 250 miles an hour are really light. So you got to be careful with your steering inputs, even on the straights, because if you know, it will spin out on you. So if you have to avoid an accident at those speeds, you're going to become part of it really easy.
This reminds me of when I was playing high school sports, and everybody and their brother would come out for tryouts, and the coaches would have 9 million guys out there. What they had to do was just run the heck out of them for the first week, and anybody who survived, well, that was going to be part of the team. I kind of think that's what's going on here. We're going to thin out the herd a little bit with these early incidents. A lot of drivers are going to fall away. Then we'll get to some real racing.
Yeah, it's nice for them to not have free repairs on. Now, Bill, at the back of the field, you were saying you've been keeping an eye on that. Have you seen anyone at the start of the race just not go, knowing that there was going to be a chance for an incident in the early laps, and try and keep their car in one piece?
No, honestly, they tried to look like they try to hang on to the back of the draft. So it's nobody. There's not like two drafts where you see it in NASCAR where there's a guy who's up front and another one in the back. But honestly, it happened so quick. I don't think they really had time to plan out any strategy. If they can get a few laps in here, we'll see how things play out. What I am seeing, though, is a lot of guys coming in from the back, even right now coming in. I'm looking at Brian Yosick. He's come in. This is his probably his third or fourth pit stop. It is his fifth pit stop. He just keeps putting on new rubber. It's nice that you don't have to pay for it.
I think Jonathan Lawrence, now having been involved in that incident, and also Justin Rodden are probably not too far behind that.
No, I think a problem here, because he's in 23rd, Adam, but he's actually multiple laps down now. It seems only 19 cars are really still out there with a shot. The 20th place car, Brian Hubble, is now 3 laps down, and as a matter of fact, he's one of the cars out of the race.
Well, here we go. Getting ready to start this thing again. Going to try to. And Mustang pace car is rounding 3 and 4. Getting ready to come into 4 and eventually will pull off here.
And just to follow up on what you were saying, Sam, yeah, there's only 2 cars that are not on the lead lap that are still racing. Norman Perrottet and then Brian Hubble. Pelletier.
Pace car is off. Or coming off right about now, excuse me. And they're going to start entering the tri-oval. And remember, the Talladega start-finish line is after the tri-oval. Ricky Harden's on the gas. He is going. Good start by Ricky Harden. It looks like he's going to have a solid hold on first as a hit of 1 and 2. Second place is going to be a matter of contention, though, with Jason Robarge on the top side. Underneath him is Drew Carroll. Drew Carroll gets a good run coming off 2 here. He'll be able to pull out in front as they go through down the backstretch. In fact, he's got a good run on your leader. He's going to go ahead and try to go straight to the lead. And we got the 24 car there. That is Scott Eckridge. He is going to try to make a play on second here. You can already see Ricky Harden kind of drifting up a little bit. That might even be a play a little bit on those older tires. And we say older, but they've only had 4 or 5 green flag laps on them. Drew Carroll going to hold on to the lead here, hopefully through the start-finish line, possibly into 1. But Scott Eckridge is back there, and Jason Robarge is staking on the low side. He's going to go ahead and try to hold that line. Scott Eckridge moves down the track just a little bit. He's going to try to get underneath Drew Carroll as they head down the backstretch. He's going to get a good run here. If you want to, goes ahead and pulls alongside, and he might have the line and the run here going into 3 to take sole command of first.
Yeah, I think from the get-go, Adam, what we saw there was top two drivers, remember, on all tyres, but they're actually doing woo as Eckridge runs Carroll down below the yellow line there. They're actually doing a pretty good job of holding on to third and fourth place, and as a matter of fact, Ricky moves up into second, despite being on those older tyres. What will be interesting is will they begin to drop back if we stay green for about 3 or 4 more laps, and where is the fall-off point on these tyres? We'll find out once the green stays out for long enough.
Yeah, I think we're going to find that here sooner rather than later. These guys are really kind of, kind of getting their sea legs underneath them and being able to, race a little bit more than what they were a little while ago. Right now, Scott Eckridge running in second, Drew Carroll not far behind him, and Ricky Hart in third. We got a spinner, and Woodrow Mahan going through the infield. Right behind him in that green car is Joseph Hassett. Yep. Oh, we got a car upside down.
Yeah, that's Mahan. He came back up on the track and he just got walloped by, I think, Chris Gutierrez.
Riding along now with Woodrow, and he'll come down the track, and at that point, Joe is there. They make contact, goes sliding through the infield. And you'll mention that he'll come back up on the track here. Of course, remember, in the grass, don't have really a lot to go, and just gets hit when he comes back up on the track, goes for a wild ride. He gets for a second wild ride here with tremendous airtime. I think it was Gutierrez, I believe, that hit him there the second time. Right on board here with Gutierrez. And Sam, what you were talking about earlier, this is going to be a perfect example of the closing rate when something happens in front of you.
Yeah, well, I mean, the drivers are just spinning half a mile ahead. Man, I'll tell you what, he may have got away with that. We'll have to check on his car, because he almost he ghosted through it.
If he did, that's some tremendous luck, because I am only seeing just a little bit of right front damage, not any more than what he really had before. So that'll be great for him if that's all he gets. And
Hassard's on board. If we're going to try to get a look at it, he'll have the whole incident in front of him. Watch as he goes through the grass, and then he has the spinning car in front of him, not once but twice.
Leaders are pitting, by the way. Eckridge coming in. Everybody's coming in except, who's that back there? It's not. Robert Barney's staying out.
Now we're on with Hassard. Now Hassard has the spinning car to the outside. No problem. It leaves him. Then that car bounces off the wall, comes back in front of him. Hassard misses him again. Great job from Big Joe.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Robert Barney stayed out. The only other cars that stayed out are off a lead lap, so Barney's going to be all on his lonesome up there on those old tyres. But from what we were seeing under that last run, that didn't really seem to make a lot of a difference.
Oh, but he's been out there for a while. This is 10 laps that Barney's been out. Looks like everybody taking advantage of this stop and coming in.
Well, I was saying we were hoping to talk to Trevor Bissett, but it looks like he left the room. Trevor, if you're still out there, we'd love to talk to you if you want to come back on in. But cars are getting ready to come out here. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a short break, and we'll be back for the green flag. And welcome back to the Talladega 500 presented by the Premier Racing League. Lights should be coming off on the pace car here. We'll have one more pace lap before we go back to green. Joining us now, Trevor Bissett. Trevor, unfortunate incident what happened to you a little while ago, but tell us how things are going out there. I mean, as far as the practice and qualifying, tell us everything you want to about the car and the race so far.
Tight. And can you get any more tighter than that, really?
It sounds like the tires are going away after only about, what would you say, about 10 laps? Is that all you're getting out of them?
9, 10, around there, yes. That sounds about right. Out of 2, you're going to start getting loose, definitely around 9 or 10. But it is really tight, for sure, at the beginning. Aero push is quite ridiculous and almost feels like you're a Darlington coming out of 2. You have to lift pretty much all the way off if you're behind a car.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the incident. What was your take on it?
Well, myself and a lot of guys I was racing with, Sean Ambrose himself was in there. We were trying to chill back, and I saw the wreck coming in front of me, and I went to go dodge it, and 2 cars connected, and I didn't get out of the way fast enough. These cars aren't as responsive. As you know, I'm usually an IndyCar driver, and I can usually dodge those, but stock cars aren't like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. We were talking about the closing rate, too. If something does happen in front of you, you just don't have time to react. So, Soup, did you have anything you want to ask here real quick?
Well, before we go to green, yeah, it's a little just as fast, but not quite as handling as those open wheelers, right? Okay, Adam, I'll go back to you. Looks like they're going to go green here pretty soon. Stick around for a second, Trevor. We'll get back to you in a minute.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, pace car getting ready to pull off here, and eventually we're going to go back to green. Ricky Harden, last couple of restarts, he's had some really, really good restarts, but the problem now is going to be you got Robert Barney up there on old tires. How is he going to do? Is he going to spin the tires here on the start? I think that's going to be something to watch. Green flag is out.
Yeah, looks like he did a good job. I don't think he'll be able to hold on to that top spot for long. Granted, clean air is always worth a lot.
My bet is he's going to lose it by the time we get out of turn 2.
I think, well, he did make it through. Okay. There you go. It's maybe not before he gets to turn 3.
He's not.
And here they all come now.
Drew Carroll leading the charge past Robert Barney. We're going to have somebody taking it 3 wide down the inside. Ryan Bird, you see him a lot in different leagues, including Pack Majors. He is taking a look on the inside, running that inside low underneath Drew Carroll.
Yeah, look what that did to Barney. He almost slid up into the wall, really had to back out. That slowed him and Hardin both down, and they dropped far back.
Don Runkle gets around Ryan Bird, following right in the footsteps of Scott Eckridge, and he's going to take a look on the inside, but Eckridge is going to move his line down low, coming off the 2. Oh, Barney's in the wall. Oh, who's that behind him, taking him with him?
Barney hits it. Gutierrez got it as well.
So far, no caution.
Because they're all on the apron. I did not know a car could flip the way that Barney's just did.
It was all about the rubber. He had nothing there, and then when he got back into the bad air, he couldn't keep that car off the wall.
New leader, Scott Eckridge.
Terrible break for Robert Barney and Cruz Gutierrez. Oh, and Ryan Bird's going around.
Yeah, him
Don Runkle got into him.
They collided for third.
Slide back up in front of the track.
Pierre Nightingale got by him in the 14 machine. Just missed him.
Don't know how, but you're right, Bill. He did. And boy, Michael Gray is coming through this like a bat out of hell. He just gained about 4 positions down the back straight. If he did, that's 5 right there as he goes by Vicky Monzo.
And with that, Scott Eckridge actually takes a commanding lead. The problem is you don't want a commanding lead when you got cars right in front. Excuse me, he's not like Drew Carroll's in the lead. I am very sorry about that. And so Scott Eckridge running in second, Drew Carroll running in first. And wow, that just got busy in a hurry there, guys.
They kept it green though, and that's what was important. Woodrow Mahan, Chris Gutierrez and Robert Barney have all retired from the race now, and Joe Hassett is running in 5th place in a car that's pretty crumpled up.
Let me ask Trevor, was there any idea, Trevor, do you have any thoughts about laying back and sitting back in the weeds and waiting for stuff to get out of the way, or was it you were in the mix the whole time? Oh, we lost Trevor there.
Oh boy, look at what's happening up front. The top two haven't been working together. They've been running side by side, and that allowed the drivers in third and fourth to run them back down.
Yeah, but look who's back in third. Ricky Harden, after getting slowed up behind Barney, has already been able to get that ground back and running in third. Behind him, Robarge. And with right now Scott Eckridge running on the outside, looks like he's going to lose that lead, probably sole command of the lead, to Drew Carroll. Drew Carroll's going to retake the first position, slides back up in front of Eckridge. That can get hairy at speeds like this. Going through the tri-oval, we're going to still have Scott Eckridge hanging around on the outside. He isn't going to let this go very easy. We start heading into turn one here. And keep in mind, coming out of two is one of the danger spots. You heard Trevor Bissett mention a little while ago how loose these cars are getting after only a couple laps out of that corner. They have so far, all five of these guys here, your top five, able to hold it together and running in one pack with Joe Hassert running back in fifth, just trying to hang on to the back tail of these four cars.
Yeah, Sean Ambrose just hit the wall hard out of two. He goes skidding into the inside wall, noses it in the 71 machine. I think he may have got away with it, though.
Yeah, he got it going back straight again. I don't know. I think he got away with getting it without a yellow flag, but I think he's going to need to come in.
Yeah, and talking about that top five, I can't believe Joe Hassett has been able to hang on to the top four with the damage he has. And funnily enough, he scraped the wall a little bit coming out of turn two that time. And you see Sean Ambrose did a lot more than scrape the wall.
Now, sitting back with Sean for a while was Trevor Brissett. We got him back in the booth again. Trevor, did you ever give any thought to hanging back and staying out of trouble, or did you decide you're going to race with these guys from the start?
Well, me and Sean, you brought it up. Me and Sean were talking about it, and we let the first lap go around without going in the pits. And we're like, oh, we're going to go in so we can drop back and get fresh tires, because obviously fresh tires are really needed here. And we came around and it was closed, and like, oh no, what do we do? And luckily, I kind of choked on the restart and got us a little slack back, but obviously didn't work out for me. Worked out for Sean at that time, but yeah, the plan was to stick back. A lot of us didn't qualify, if you noticed, and it's just you're just trying to stick back and make it through the race.
Well, it was a good idea. It worked out for Sean, but only for another, like, it's lap 27 right now, so we only got an extra 24 laps out of it. I think he's going to be joining you soon. Maybe you guys can go find another race to participate in, because I think your days are both going to be done.
It's time to go practice our DW12 at Phillip Island. It's going to need a lot of work for me in the Lionheart Series.
And for all you, don't forget to tune in for the Lionheart Series Wednesday nights. Whoa, my goodness.
Yeah, Drew Carroll slid up and almost got into Eckridge. I just realised we have two Trev Gordon cars packed in here in this top four pack.
Not gonna lie, that's actually thrown me for a loop once or twice, seeing that that DuPont on the front end there. Ricky Hart, we'll run through the top five just real quick. Scott Eckridge kind of has a big gap up front, but he's gonna end up, those guys will end up catching back up to him here, no problem at all. He's running in first, Drew Carroll second, Jason Robarge third, Ricky Harden fourth, and Joe Hassert losing that top group with his front end damage, running in fifth.
Yeah, now, running in the top 10 at the completion of last lap was Ricky Monzo, but he had a bit of a skid coming out of a tri-oval. That's dropped him outside the top 10, and in fact he's come in the pit for repairs this time by. Unfortunately, we have lost Michael Gray. He had been running up in the top 10. He wrecked out of turn 2 a couple laps ago while running in the top 10.
And we'll say goodbye to the Sergeant, Trevor Brissett. Thanks for coming in to help us out. Any of the other drivers who's out of the race, coming in to talk to us. It's going to be a long race here. Boy, this stint now, guys, a lot of these guys are up to 14 laps on these set of tires, so I would expect pit stops to be any minute now.
Yeah, so now it'll come down to at what point do you start losing too much ground by staying out there. Of course, with these guys, with the top four, they're probably going to go ahead and try to push it just as long as they can, but the first guy out of this group that comes in, they all will probably try to come in that lap, which will be interesting at these speeds because, pit road injury here is tough in a restrictor plate race to begin with. Now we're talking at speeds, we're slowing down a little bit. Now they're closer to about 230, 235 miles an hour.
Oh,
Barge, the big moment.
Yeah, well, you can see he has lost ground to the top three. The handling has really gone away from his car. Now, am I No, it was Robert Barney who began the last stint on old tires, wasn't it?
And if I can
Right.
ask our director there to go, I want to ride along with Robarge there as he went. Okay, where are we? Oh. So sorry about that. That was just a heck of a moment there.
Yeah, Hardin just got a piece of a wall in 3 and 4. He brushed it. That might make him think about coming in the pits. Yeah, my apologies. It was Robert Barney was the only driver on old tyres at the last stint. So Bill said, we're about 15 laps in this stint. So all these cars have 15 lap tyres on them, and they're running about a second slower than what they were at the start of a run, which granted, when you're at a 2.6 mile speedway, a second isn't a heck of a lot. If these drivers can keep it off the wall, they might want to keep it out hit there for a couple more laps.
My thinking would be, if I was racing, boy, if I can just go one more lap, somebody else is going to spin. You kind of want to stay out there until there's a yellow, as long as you're not the yellow.
Which, Norman Pelletier just almost became the yellow just a minute ago, doing almost the exact same thing that we saw Robarge do in the tri-oval.
Wow, Ricky Hardin almost lost it when trying to pass Drew Carroll. He went on the inside of him in the tri-oval and just stepped out, and now we'll see what happened to Norm Pelletier here.
Yeah, see, that was a heck of a ride. Almost clipped that pit exit cone there, and then of course I think that's now what we're seeing is the tri-oval becoming a little bit of a problem area.
But now finally Ricky picks off the spot and he is up into second. Scott Eckridge has actually dropped back the rest a little bit, and remember, these are open setups. Maybe Eckridge has a bit of a better setup under the hood.
It's entirely possible. These cars, they are Cup cars. They were your Sprint Cup cars for a number of years, so they are very customizable as far as setup. And maybe he's just hit on something, try to get those tires last a little bit longer. But now the Aero is going to catch up with them as far as the draft, and that back group there is able to catch right back up on it. But we see Robarge just drifting up the track. He slowed down almost 210 miles an hour there as he went up high in 3 and 4. Kind of lost touch just a little bit, but if you have a good couple of corners, you should be able to gain that ground right back up.
Yeah, 210 miles an hour, far too slow. That's just, I can't imagine going that slow.
Well, just to give you an idea, these guys at the start of their run, they were able to go just about flat out all the way through these corners. Now they're having to start lifting. So what they were doing, 240, 235 at the start of the run through the corners, has already slowed down to about 220, 218. So just to give you an idea of the speed difference with these tires here on these cars.
And now that I'm going to give him a shout out, he's going to bugger it up. But let's give a shout out to Brian Yazik, because he's running in 6th right now behind these top 5 that we've had the camera, and now he's coming into the pits, that we've had the camera on for so long. But he'd been running in 6th for a decent amount of time. Actually, our 5th place car's in the pit too.
Yeah, Joe Hassert making a move to come on in. Maybe not a bad move for Hassert here, and what might not also be a bad move, the back end of Hassert's car is not that bad. So maybe, hey, I had to back up, which actually could play in a role, is getting that. Let Yazik go through, tag him behind him, and use him to keep your air off the front end. But we'll see if he's thinking along them lines right now.
Top 4 stay out another lap. How far do we think we're going to see these guys go, Bill?
Well, Eckridge's first laps, his hot laps, when he came out lap 21, he's running lap times about 40 flat. And right now he's running lap times at 42.2. So you do the math, 2.2 seconds per lap. You got to come in pretty soon.
In fact, even at this point, he could end up losing the lead from the drivers who just pit last time around, Joe Hassert.
Right, Joe Hassert is the driver who's leading all the cars in the last pit stop cycle, who has fresh rubber. Now he's a lap down, so my timing and scoring is hard to catch up. But remember, these guys are all going to have to come in. He's out there running some good times. In fact, I'll give you some lap times on him.
Yeah, well, and, you know, that's something we're going to have to get used to here at Talladega, because usually when they have a restrictor plates here, you can pit and come back out on the lead lap. Obviously, with these drivers averaging about 230 miles an hour, doing a lap around here in 40 seconds, you will lose a lap by pitting.
Now, Hassler's last lap was 49 seconds, but he doesn't have it revved up all the way yet, I'm assuming. Although he is being ran down here. If we watch him, he's being chased down by Brian Yasek. Yasek may be a faster car than Hassler.
Well, you know, Yasek has a clean front end, and Hassler does not. I mean, Hasler's front end right now is just a sail in the wind. And as Yasek's going to make a move, go underneath him, and Hassler, what he needs to do is just latch right onto the back end of Yasek, and you know, two cars are better than one to begin with, but get that air off your front end.
I almost wonder, Adam, if it's something that it's hurting him less in the long run when it becomes more about handling and less about top speed. Maybe his car's not handling that bad, so at the end of the last long run we saw him hanging with the leaders okay, but here at the start of a run when everyone else is going 250, maybe that front end damage is hindering him a bit more than the others.
Yeah, somebody had spun out there. Looked like Ricky Monzo coming out of 4.
Would have
he
been
ended
a
up
shame.
getting loose right between 3 and 4. Kind of does the hospital wobble on him. He can't save it. Ends up ultimately coming back up the track, slapping the outside wall, and coming back down.
Hospital wobble. I like that one.
He had been running in about the top 10. Jonathan Lawrence actually just spun and had to take a tow into the pit.
Yeah, the guy we want to keep an eye on is running in ninth place right now.
Jonathan Lawrence having a moment on the backstretch.
Brian Yasek. He's leading all the guys who pitted. He's putting in some good lap times.
Ooh, who did he spin out in front of there?
Let's try and find out on replay for you.
I think that was
that
Sean.
the Golf car? Okay, no.
Or I could be wrong there. Hold on, no, because I think it was after the spin. It might have been Sean. Yeah, I think it was Sean Ambrose.
Yeah, that Golf car was Dom Runkle, by the way, who went by him. Ricky Monzo has retired from the race. And none of our 4 leaders have came in yet.
But you know, one of the things you know, we were talking about a minute ago with the handling. It's what really worries me though. Going back to Joe Hassert's damage is particularly the Gen 6 cars, and I'm not sure because I never had to experience it personally, but I definitely have with the Gen 6. Is a little bit of front end damage can really hurt you at the end of these long races. I worry about Joe Hassert's engine, not right now, but in 100 laps from now, because the heat damage could be cumulative, and you might not necessarily see it on your temperature gauge just yet with that front end damage. So that's going to be a story for him, I think, too, with that getting caught up in a few of those earlier incidents.
Well, Adam, I think you nailed it though when you said for Big Joe to grab onto the back of Yasek, and that's what he's done because Yasek went by him like Joe was standing still, but Hassert much better back there, following the 55, able to run with him, and in fact, he has ideas of getting around Brian, I think. Meanwhile, we talked about it, Sam. I knew that there would be some guys who would want to push this. These guys are working on lap 27 now, our leaders. They're getting to the point where it might be fuel, might be an issue.
Yeah, I think that's what these 4 have nailed the setup. It's I can't remember what year it was, but once at Darlington in the Southern 500, the race was won by a driver who didn't necessarily have the fastest car, but he brought along truck tires with him and stayed out while everyone else had to pit for new tires. I think it's the same here. We might not necessarily see the fastest car win this race. We're going to see the cars racing at the end here that are able to do one full run without having to pit due to handling issues. And right now, you've got to say that Scott Eckridge is looking real pretty.
Now,
Norman Pelletier almost having another moment through the tri-oval.
As we look at our leader there, now we're looking at Norman. Now, some of those drivers who are doing this long stint are doing a better job of it than others. Gilliam is out there running in 8th position right now. He's putting in lap times of 44.4, so he's a couple seconds off what Eckridge is doing.
Yeah,
Eckridge's last lap is 22.7, but still competitive compared to what the guys are doing on fresh tires, Sam.
Yeah, well, Gilliam scraped the wall early, and he actually did it again. He is the first car 1 lap down. Now let's consider the fact that we have some cars 1 lap down because they pitted. The other drivers who are still on the lead lap outside the top 4 are James Krahula, Tony Sherwin, and Norm Pelletier. So let's give him a shout out, especially Norm Pelletier, considering the amount of times we've almost seen him go around. Oh, and as I say that, Tony Sherwin scrapes the wall out of turn 2 and has to go down to the apron, saves it though.
One of those guys that's really glad they paved that apron a couple of years ago. Then what will happen here is he comes outside of 2. The car really starts to tighten up on him. He'll end up sliding up toward the outside wall here in just a second. You'll see it. And once you hit that wall, it just kind of bounces you off of it, and he has to try to slide it and try to catch it on the apron of the racetrack.
Norm Pelletier into the pits.
Let's go to Brian Yosick right now, because Yosick and Hassard are just getting around the 15 car of Harden. Now Harden's running 3rd.
Oh, and Norm Pelletier overshot his pit stall. He'd been doing well to keep on the lead lap. That might end up costing him once all these stops have cycled through.
Now, if we stay on Yosick, you see that he's going to run down. There's Carroll up ahead of him, and then there's your leader. So these guys, Yosick and Hassard, are about to get their lap back.
I think Harden may have announced that he's about to pit. Jeffrey Gilliam has.
He's probably, after saw how fast those guys went by him, that, hey, it might be time to go ahead and come in.
And here he comes. And Gilliam too.
But what's interesting, the beauty is Yosick is on 12-lap old tires, so everything that Yosick has going for him now is, you see, look at this, that's your leader. That's Hassard on the inside, Yosick on the outside. Yosick to Hassard defines size. We're not going to need to do that yet.
Harden overshoots his pit stall. That could hurt him once this is all done.
So now I don't think those guys are going to be able to get in and out. Maybe, I'm not sure how fast they're running. They're going awfully fast here. I don't think that Eckridge is going to be able to make that stop and still be on the lead lap, although he'll have new tires. This is fun.
Jason Bobage into the pit.
You can see Ricky Harden down there on the apron. He's just coming out. Robar's looking for a stall. Of course, now with the iRacing update, your paddle guy there at the front actually wears the uniform. Of course, we can't see it, but Robarge can. Oh, it slides right into his pit wall there.
Everyone I have watched come into the pits the last few laps has done that. And that's really surprising. It's not like you're coming down pit road any faster into your
Scott Eckridge and Drew Carroll both coming in here. Do you guys think that's a product of these guys coming in on super really old bad tires?
Yeah, potentially.
And we're going to, I think, have a new leader here as Joe Hassard has gotten around Yosick. The 4 cars ahead of the 55. Assuming these guys are going to be able to, they're on the backstretch now, come around before Eckridge gets out.
Well, Kahula is yet to pit.
Oh, that's right. Kahula is still out there.
I don't know why Hassard would want to go in front of Yosick considering his damage.
Yeah, maybe the radiator. I don't know if that's something that iRacing takes into account. Maybe he needed clear air out there.
Yeah, he definitely, that's probably not a bad idea. He's been running behind him at these speeds for a while. It's probably exactly what it is, get a little bit more air in the front end. But just for a little bit, and then he'll probably slide right back up behind him. And as Scott Eckridge comes out and comes up to speed, guess who's right behind him?
Yeah, no, he didn't get this done. So there goes Eckridge. Now there goes the guys by him. He wasn't able to get it revved up. So Yosick gets by, but of course Yosick is on 14-lap old tires. So here comes the new rubber from Eckridge.
This is for the lead now. It's about to be because Kahula's in.
But think about how far back Yosick was and Hassard at when they first made their pit stops compared to your leader Scott Eckridge. So far the strategy trying to work out. So we'll see if how long he's able to hang into the back, and it doesn't look like it's going to be very long at all, but it'll be a cumulative effect over the race, over the course of the race. We're 51 laps into it now, and we definitely still have a couple more pit cycles to go through.
Well, here's the thing. Yazik's been out there for 16 laps now. It's almost time for him, if he stays with his strategy, it's time for him to come in. Him and Hazard will be coming in. In fact, I think I might have just... Nope, I thought he was going to come in.
Pierre Daigle is. I'm not sure though, Bill, because I'm sure at the end of a race, if you've got to make an extra stop, that's going to still end up costing you a whole lap. So unless they really figured the math out and realised, hey, they could short pit on their first pit stop and still make the same number of stops, and that was really smart thinking by them, we'll have to see.
Well, that's what I said. Even if the difference, it looked like the interval was only, let's say it's 3 seconds a lap.
But Obaj goes down, Babaj, I'm going to mispronounce all very slowly, he goes down into the apron, he lost Robaj, I apologise, he went all the way down to the apron coming out of 2, saved it though.
Looks like that classic getting out of tight out of 2 that we've been seeing, slapping the outside wall and taking her for a little trip.
Hassett back in.
That's interesting.
No, it's not interesting. That's his time to come in. He's on, but
alone. He's coming in alone.
Well, yeah, he's got to get Yazik. He needs his pal. But yeah, that's his strategy, is to run short stints on fresh rubber as much as he can. I'm not sure it actually plays out because I just don't think you're that much faster.
Well, surely, I'm almost wondering if he's overheating a bit and he came in to get some tape off, because surely with that much damage to front end, his priority right now has just got to be survival. Meanwhile, Ricky Hardin is running Eckridge down for the lead.
Yeah, there you go, and as they are heading down the backstretch there, that shaped up in a hurry too, as far as, excuse me, the front stretch. Man, I'm getting all sorts of turned around here all of a sudden. That gap really closed in a hurry between those two. And of course, you can see the gap that's been built up there on your screen between second and third now, up towards about a second between Ricky Hardin and Drew Carroll. But that's still on the tail end of the draft. You can just watch that number shrink about a half second now between first and second and third, as Drew Carroll has a head full of steam. He's going to catch right back up to the back here of Ricky Hardin. Ricky Hardin might be in danger of losing second coming out of 2. Careful not to slide up here, Ricky, as Drew Carroll's going to be able to get cleanly around him. Ricky Hardin's going to try to slide right in behind him.
You see those letters D and F up there in the top left of the screen a lot already, and we have over 100 laps to go. We have 7 cars on the lead lap right now, 4 1 lap down. Pierre Daigle is 2 laps down. Sean Ambrose is still in track in 13th, 13 laps down. I think everyone behind him is out of the race.
Yeah, the attrition rate has definitely been high with some of the incidents that we've seen, and also just how the cars are handling as well. So I tell you what, guys, since we're kind of in between pit cycles here, at least a little bit, let's go ahead and run down the field just real quick of those guys that are on track. Your leader right now, Scott Eckridge, running in first. Second is Drew Carroll. Drew's hanging tough, just able to take second away from your third place runner right now, Ricky Hardin. And behind him, we got our very own Brian Yasik. He's still hanging tough back there, but you can see just how much time he has lost in the last couple of laps compared to those guys, and he is coming in.
Yeah, he was losing 2.5 seconds to the leader, so he had to come in. Go ahead, guys.
And I don't know if you saw, just before we cut to him, there was a bit of tyre smoke on screen. That's because Dom Runkle, one of the 7 drivers who had still been on the lead lap, crashed coming through the tri-oval. He is trying to get his car pointing in the right direction in the turn 1 infield right now. He's having a hard time doing that. Yeah,
I think Brian Yasik kind of overshot his pit just a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And ended up taking a little bit of a longer stop here. So...
yeah, Runkle got loose right in front of Jeffrey Gilliam, and Gilliam gives him a little help around there. No, not Gilliam's fault. He couldn't, there you see him getting loose. Gilliam gives him a little tag, helps him spin.
Now,
surprised that one didn't been out of yellow.
if this is one thing that if it had been in the real world, it's very likely Don Runkle would have went for a wild ride right there. But iRacing doesn't do the blowovers where the car lifts up off the back. At least not yet. But that one there could have been really wild. Yazik is back on track. Of course, one lap down. He's running back there now with Robarge. So he should fall back. I think he'll cycle back to about 7th position here as they start. He starts his next run and sees how much more time he can gain on Scott Eckridge. So it'll be this next pick cycle that we'll really see how much I really think it's going to be able to gain on him. So we'll continue our run through the field. So now taking over 4th position is Jason Robarge. You see him right there in the front of your screen in that Jeff Gordon throwback paint scheme. He's had himself at least a pretty eventful early race. Up front, battle shaping up now for the lead. Drew Carroll running on, it said inside, and Scott Eckridge running on the outside. Sorry, Sam.
Uh-oh, lap car. That got close.
Jeffrey Gilliam, great job, buddy. Keep that high. You let those leaders go by. They stay side by side.
Yeah, this is Drew Carroll trying to make a pass on Scott Eckridge. He challenged.
Whoa! Scott Eckridge had to dirt track that thing coming off too.
Gonna try again. Eckridge really wants to hold on to this lead, and why not? He's been leading all race long, and he hasn't really hit any trouble. Perhaps he doesn't want to get in the dirty air because he thinks it might hurt his car.
And I'll share the comment, and it's exactly dead on from our director Joe Peak that these battles feel more like the NASCAR races of the 70s at Dega and Daytona, and he's exactly right.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Sam.
I had a friend who raced street stocks once who didn't like restrictor plate racing because he said, well, they put restrictor plates back on these cars in the 1980s because we were running street stocks around Talladega, and they couldn't withstand 200 miles an hour impacts. I've got to be honest.
Yellow's out.
Oh. Pierre Daigle.
He enters one here. I have a feeling that we're going to see turn 2 bite him here with the tightness. We'll watch.
And then he kind of does a pinwheel once he hits the wall here.
Woo! Woo! You know, that looks like Danica Patrick a couple years ago at Daytona, sliding off the wall and catching air, spinning like a top.
Robarge able just to get around here. We're going to be on 4. This is going to be exciting. This happens way out in front of Robarge, so he has plenty of time to see it happening.
Plenty of time in quotation marks.
But it happens so fast in relation to how fast he's going. And now we go to slow motion. There's the car spinning, and he just gets around him. Oh.
And that would have been a shame for Robarge to have been taken out because he was one of the 5 cars left on the lead lap, has just gone up to 6. Because Brian Yazik just got the lucky dog as the leaders come in for some tyres.
You know, and that could put Yazik right back on the same strategy of the leaders if he chooses here. So that'll be fun to see. But now we'll have 6 cars on the lead lap when we come back to green in a few minutes.
So with Yazik getting the lucky dog, is he allowed to come in and get tires? Then I guess so. He's coming all the way around, so he can come in.
That's the advantage of, as we see one car overshoot it still, that's the advantage, that was Kahula, of being the lucky dog as opposed to a wave around. If you're a wave around, you're not allowed to
You're
pit.
not able to come in.
If you're a lucky dog, you can. Now, Yazik didn't pit that time,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I should imagine Yazik should pit, because he's in first right now, but if he pits, he'll only drop to 6th. Meanwhile, we have 3 cars on the tail end of the lead lap who would make it 9 cars on the lead lap when we go back to green.
Pitting is a smart thing to do for Yazik anyway, because as part of being the recipient of the lucky dog, he's going to have to go to the back anyway.
Yeah, but There'll be 9 it looks like there'll be 9 cars on the lead lap for the restart now, because Joe Hassett, Norm Pelletier, and Tony Schoen haven't pit yet. And if they stay out throughout the whole caution, they'll get the wave round.
Very interesting. This is a tough call for them because they're on a very long, they've been on their tires. Hassert's been on those tires for 10 laps. Schoen's been on for 13 laps. And Joe, give me the pronunciation for Norman's name. Pelletier has been out there for 17. Thank you, director. It's nice when you have a director that studied French in high school. Okay, German. So that was no help at all. He's so smart.
No, let's not give Joe too much credit here. So now you're going to go ahead and see Yazik coming on in as he should be able to get 4 fresh new Goodyears here in just a moment. Sorry, I had to take a shot at you, Joe. I love you, man.
Yeah, I gave a shout out to Sean Ambrose earlier as being the lowest running car still on track at 13 laps down. I think when I went back and double checked, Justin Rodden is 39 laps down in 17th. He's still out there on track.
$39 down, and he's going to, in a couple laps, he'll be able to get around Michael Gray, then he'll be able to get around Jonathan Lawrence. Monzo up there in 26th, he can get there. So he can go all the way up to 14th.
Well, if there's enough attrition in the second half, he could go all the way back up to first.
Well, I think.
Go ahead.
I think now, after what we've seen here, the last, with this really long green flag run. I mean, we almost went through 2 pit cycles. I think now we're going to start to see the real racing begin, guys.
I think they have to get on the long run first. I think we're still going to see a bit of difficulty on the opening laps of each run.
Yeah, and Jesse Fowler, who didn't take the grid at all, I'm going to make a call out to him. Jump in right now, buddy. Get out there. You still have 120 laps. You can find yourself in the top 10 before this thing's done. Oh, a lot of good talking going on between the drivers out there right now.
So just if you're joining us late, just to kind of recap, this is a fun Week 13 race hosted by the Premier Racing League, where they have invited their own drivers, also the drivers from the IROC Racing Series and Lionheart. So we've got 3 different series being represented out here for tonight, and just to kind of come on out, have a good time, and go ridiculously fast. We've gone ludicrous speed. I think before too long we might go plaid. So,
you notice they didn't invite anybody from a straight road course series because they didn't want to be showing up for real drivers there. Oh, that was a
shots
shot.
Fired. Shots fired. Real quick, because if one of you guys can see this for me, my timing and scoring isn't agreeing with me here right now. How many times has James Krahula pitted in this race? And I haven't seen a lick of damage on his car.
I'm showing 10 times.
Every time I turn around, I'm seeing him back in the pits. So I think he's just trying to stay in the back as far as he can. So I guess we'll keep an eye on James. Maybe he's just trying to lag back a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's been working for him. He's been running around the top 5 all race long. The lights are still on the pace car. Anyway, before the caution came out, I was about to touch on the subject of, after what you've seen tonight, do you think we should see these cup cars, which are a lot safer than the street stock cars back in the 1980s, running unrestricted like this at Talladega in real life? And the big problem that they've discovered with that is that once you get to 200 miles an hour, the cars have difficulty in real life keeping on the ground if they spin around. If they were going 240, as soon as they got turned sideways, you would see them flipping over every time.
Yeah, and they tried to make advancements as far as that's concerned, as far as like the roof flaps and all that. Of course, the big incident which led to the restrictor plates happened right here at Talladega in 1987, and Bobby Allison, you know, he blew a tire through the tri-oval, it turned him around, air got underneath the car, lifted him up into the catch fence, tore down just a huge section of the catch fence and injured a few people. And then right after that, NASCAR was like, enough's enough. And you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that was the same year that Bill Elliott did a lap around here. I think it was 212 miles an hour was the average speed. I could be wrong on that.
Yep, that was, they decided to put a stop to that. I think the only way we'll ever see that type of racing if it's a television event only, because they just can't have fans of that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the other... You'd have to close off bottom rows, wouldn't you? You'd have to put them higher up, which honestly wouldn't be the end of the world, because at a NASCAR race, typically people say they like to sit higher up.
Yeah.
You get to see more of a track that way. Well, the lights are off on the pace car. Scott Eckridge up front once again.
Real quick, we'll run through I just want to run through everybody here real quick on your leaderboard as far as the top 10 before we go to green. Scott Eckridge running in first, Ricky Harden running in second, Robar's running in third, Drew Carroll, running in fourth, James Grahula running in fifth, Yazik taking the lucky dog, getting back in sixth, seventh, Joe Hassert, Pelletier running in they came across the line last eighth. I think he ended up getting bunched up a little bit there on the live timing and scoring. Schoen and Gilliam rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, and Schoen then must have pit under this caution, which is understandable because I think it wasn't an incident not too long ago.
Don Bunkle still racing out there? So car pulls away.
Mustang comes off, getting ready to ground the tri-oval and coming back to green. And of course, I've been commenting all race long on the restarts that Ricky Harden's been getting, but I think this time Scott Eckridge is going to get the best of him. He gets a good restart from the lead. He's going to try to pull Drew Carroll in right behind him, and Ricky Harden might slip back to third here by the time we get to turn 2 as he drops to the inside line.
Well, Carroll is missed excitement, and he isn't going to waste this opportunity. He's going to try and get by Eckridge, and Eckridge is trying to defend. I don't know if that's legal in this race, if he can use a bit of the apron to take a lead, but looks like that's what he's going to do, but he hasn't cleared Eckridge yet.
Yellow is only out of bounds in the real world, not here in iRacing, as they continue to drive around and running side by side, going through the tri-oval with... As the tires get older later on in the run, this might not be possible, but right now on fresh rubber, they are doing it great. Right now running speeds upwards of 240 miles an hour, rounding turns 1 at 237 miles an hour, Scott Eckridge's current speed. So running side by side, about a foot off each other at 237 miles an hour.
See, here's what we needed to do. We needed to turn tire wear off somehow.
Would that go along with the grip hacks? .exe. No.
You're speaking a foreign language to me. I know left, right, gas, brake.
Look at this battle up front. My goodness.
And nose to nose here. Scott Eckridge and Drew Carroll. Scott Eckridge almost comes down on Drew Carroll there a little bit. Scott Eckridge's already getting to the point where his tires might have a little trouble here in 2. Got to be a little bit more careful here. They do great riding down the backstretch. And not only are they jockeying up here, they're jockeying back there for 3rd, 4th, and 5th as well. So that's getting a little nuts back there. But we'll stick up here up at the front. Scott Eckridge hanging onto the outside. If you think about it, guys, running that outside line might actually help Scott maybe get a little bit more for his tires as opposed to Drew. As long as Scott can try to keep Drew pinned down there, it might help him heat that rubber up a little bit earlier.
Yeah, turn 2 is definitely going to be the trouble zone each time. Norm Pelletier did that famous ride through the apron last lap around. Here they come off 2. Do they make it out okay? Yes, they do.
Heading down to turn 3 right now, Drew Carroll with the slide edge, but Scott Eckridge tries to take it back. Drew Carroll comes back, takes the slide edge once again, and it actually looks like Scott Eckridge might actually lose sole possession of first here, but no, he comes right back on the outside as they start heading toward the tri-oval. And I do believe this is about the 4th or 5th lap they've been side by side. They've been side by side now since pretty much the first lap that we've come back from green.
It would be a real shame if this ended in disaster, because these have been the 2 fastest cars all night long.
By the way, at the line, there was no difference in time between them. They were dead heat at the line.
Eckridge and Carroll are actually talking to each other over the mic, saying, okay, we're good, I'm good, everything's good.
How long until the drivers in 3rd and 4th begin running them down, because they're not burning their tyres off as much? I think Hardin's gaining on a lot on them here.
Of course, Bill, you like to call the position that the likes that Hardin and Kahula are in the popcorn position before I think Drew Carroll gets a little loose, maybe just coming out going into turn 1 there, loses sole possession at first. Scott Eckridge is going to take it over. Ricky Hardin now right behind Drew. He is right on his back bumper, and James Kahula not far behind him.
I'm thinking that Carroll did that intentionally. He probably thought, okay, my car's beginning to go off a little bit. Let's give Eckridge this one, because Hardin and Kahula were coming otherwise.
Well, they were racing like Cialis bathtubs for about 3 laps, so yeah, I think it was time to get that thing sorted out. So now they won 1, 2, 3, 4. There's Hardin and Kahula. Robarge watching the whole thing back there in 5th. And falling off the pace is Brian Yasek.
Of course, Yasek kind of got stuck back there with some cars that have some damage and the like. And so I don't think he ever really had the chance to try to latch on to that lead draft in such a way that I think he'd be able to really do much with. He's wanting to still get this, I think, on possibly pit strategy and the like. But being that far back, he's just going to stay out of trouble that far back right now, which is not necessarily a bad thing if something happens up front.
Oh, Hassard is... Oh, my goodness, Hassard is loose. He's fighting... No, it's not. It's Pelletier. It's the 56 car. Oh, my goodness. I thought he was going to lose it.
Not the first time we've
Looks
seen
like he
that.
thought he was just trying to get out of the way, and then the car got loose, and did he actually get to the inside wall?
He got a spinner on the backstretch into the inside wall hard.
That'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it for him. He's engine blue. I think he's done. It doesn't bring the caution out, but it's Don Runkle.
Now we'll see if we can get to Runkle.
And you liked that phrase earlier. You'll see it here in just a second. The hospital wobble. Except this time the hospital wobble put him into the wall on the outside. Slaps that outside wall.
If we go
Slides
back,
the inside.
If we go back live, Joe Hassett is all crossed up coming into the pits. He's going to spin and slide up through the grass, takes out the yellow cone, but fortunately that's the worst that's going to happen. Oh, and takes a toe to the pits. That ain't going to help him.
Hassett was back there hanging on to the lead lap with a damaged car on really old tires.
Looks like
Battle for the lead. Go ahead, Adam.
As you say, it looked like Joe was just kind of riding that seam between the apron there and just couldn't hang on to it. But now Scott Eckridge up front, trying to fight back off. Drew Carroll's going to fight back on the inside here as they go into 3.
Yeah, the top 5 all within sight of another. Drew Carroll stuck on the low side again. This time he's going to get it.
I believe Joe Hassard has officially resigned from the race. He is disconnected from the server.
Well, that's
New
going to be
leader,
another...
Drew Carroll.
Oh, Robarge sliding through the tri-oval into the outside wall.
Director said that would be a caution. I agreed with him, but it's not. And he was battling side by side with Kahula for 4.
Very, very common at Talladega that the racing line is the way it's defined. You'll see cars do that all the time, slide just off enough that they won't see the caution, which unfortunately for Robarge, I think he could really use one right now, because if Hassert could still have been competitive after this, you see this slide, overcorrects in the grass, slides right back to the outside wall and noses into the wall. Yeah, hard, but I don't think any harder than Hassert hit anything earlier, and Hassert was still able to run competitively after a little bit of repairs.
Yeah, well, it's back on the track, and he's running in 6, Bill.
More spots for Sean Ambrose and Justin Rodden out there running 13 and 39 laps down. Way to go, guys. Keep picking them up.
So, Bill, we have to wonder, did you tip off the marshals to try to get us home a little earlier tonight?
I mentioned it in the pre-race show that I have no clue about how the automatic marshals work here. That one looked like a yellow to me.
Well, we're only 16 laps away from where iRacing had rain. That could potentially end it, but iRacing doesn't have rain, but the battle for the lead is back on again anyway. Scott Eckridge underneath Drew Carroll.
Yeah, we got a nice 3-car battle here, battle for the lead here with Ricky Harden now. Drew Carroll's in the wall hard. He's coming around on the backstretch. Ricky Harden sliding right along with him.
They'll be okay if they don't get hit, and the caution is out, so everyone should be slowing down coming out of 2.
Krahula does a great job of weaving through those guys. Woo!
Scott Eckridge probably just won this race, although he's actually got damage himself.
Yeah, I think he hit the wall too there. I think Drew Carroll, Scott Eckridge put it best in chat. Was that just a 3-way simultaneous fail?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was windy.
These cars are just that tough here at these speeds.
It was windy. That's a good line.
So, who will get the lucky dog here? I believe Tony Sherwin. This promotes Kahula to 2nd after getting through that. Hardin will be in 3rd. Actually, no, Kahula just let Hardin by. And Tony Sherwin is a 4th car in line, but I think it will see him go by the pace car momentarily.
All 3 of those guys, even though they just, hit the wall, various other sundry things, I don't think they definitely don't have any race-ending damage. So they should be able to continue on here and maybe just as competitive as what they were.
Eckridge leads the field into the pits. And you might as well take a few extra seconds to get that damage repaired.
And Norman Pelletier has disconnected. He is done for the day.
Yeah, don't think we mentioned that about Dom Runkle as well, but that is the case. He is out.
Hassard is also out. He's running in 9th, 10th for Pelletier, and then 11th for Runkle. 12th is Sean Ambrose, so he's going to pick up those 3 spots.
I think Scott Eckridge here is taking your advice as far as waiting a little bit, along with Drew Carroll. He's just waiting. Robarge is waiting. I think all these guys here are taking advantage. Oh, Robarge is now disconnected. Ricky Harden waiting here, taking a little bit of repairs. So I think that's going to put Krahula in 1st and Yazik in 2nd.
Yes, and they both pit, but of course they didn't have to get any damage repaired, so that does promote those 2 to the top 2 spots.
Sean Ambrose and Justin Rodden have a real chance to make the podium here.
Yeah, no they do, we're not even halfway.
All the more reason to stay out there.
Well, when you think about it, it's really possible that Harden, Ehrlich, and Carroll could all be out of this race. They all spun together. Could have ended their day.
Well, let's go ahead and, long pace laps here. Let's go ahead and take a break here real quick, and we'll come back to you in just a minute. And welcome back to the Premier Racing League Talladega 500. Getting ready to go back to green here real quick. We're front row as we start. It's going to be James Krahula starting on the inside, Brian Yosick starting on the outside. Row 2 is going to have Ricky Harden starting on the inside, Scott Eckridge on the outside. In row 3, we'll have Drew Carroll on the inside and Tony Schuin on the outside. And those are actually your 6 cars right now that are on the lead lap. The Mustang pace car here pulls away, and we're going to get ready to go back to green with new leaders from what we've had so far to start the race. Krahula gets a jump, pulls right in front of Yosick, and they're going to try to go ahead and get a nice little jump here out in front of everybody.
Yeah, I think it was more Yosick just didn't go at the start there, and it really cost him. He's already back to 5th place.
Looks like Scott Eckridge here, he's going to try to break up that party a little bit.
3 different lanes going down the back straight. Eckridge resumes his position up front that he's held for most of this race. He only lost it under this caution because he had to come in to get a bit of repairs.
Scott Eckridge taking the lead here with Drew Carroll sliding right in behind him. And behind them, you're going to have James Krahula and then Ricky Harden. Brian Yosick slips back to 5th.
Nine cars on track right now, but we still have 7 in contention, really. Jeffrey Gilliam is only 1 lap down.
And this could be interesting. I need to go back and look at the start here real quick, but I think Eckridge might have got a black flag during that start. Hold on here.
Well, if he does, he'll have 3 laps to serve it or explain to the race organizer, who I guess is James Krahula, who's actually racing him for the lead out here, why he thinks he deserves to stay out front.
Well,
Yeah,
if I have a vote, let's let him stay out front.
So we'll see if he ends up having it cleared or not, but I do believe he might have gotten a black flag. I think he got around Yosick before the start-finish line on the left side. I think he passed on the left.
And his argument, I'm sure, would be, well, Yosick didn't go on the green flag, but no, he's having to serve that black flag. He'll get back up there. He'll get back up there. Unless he got a speeding penalty there, that won't help him.
For the sake of all of us, let's hope he didn't get a speeding penalty.
Well, if he keeps his car in one piece, I have a feeling we're going to see a couple more cautions. He could probably get back up there. Meanwhile, the lead just got shook up a bit. Drew Carroll had it. Yeah, Yosick just took it.
With Yosick with almost a power move there going down the backstretch. Drew Carroll's going to take a look down through turn 4, and Yosick's going to shut the door on him. As they head toward the tri-oval, Drew Carroll's going to dive back to the inside. He's got the line as Yosick will hang to the outside here. As across the start-finish line, Yosick still has the lead, but Carroll only 0.02 of a second behind him. And Drew Carroll is going to try to take the lead here and maybe try to slide up in front of him, but I don't think he's going to have the room to do so coming out of 2, so they'll race down the backstretch. Yosick has the momentum. A look at Krahula. Krahula's going to make this 3 wide. Carroll drops back, slides behind Yosick down there 2 wide going into turn 3 with Yosick on the outside and James Krahula on the inside. Krahula is going to take the lead here, at least momentarily, slides right up in front of Yosick.
Yeah, Krahula was battling for Hardin for 3rd in turns 1 and 2. Hardin had to back out on the exit 2 because he got a bit loose. Krahula then had the track to himself. He got a massive run on the 2 cars running side by side in front of him. Had created a massive hole in the air. He took the lead, but now Yosick's going to want it back.
And because he is out of the draft, he's running quite a bit slower. Scott Eckridge is going to be back in the lead pack here in just a minute, but not in the position that he wants to be in. James Krahula now slightly in front of me. He gets a little wobbly coming between 3 and 4 there. He's going to go to the outside line. He's going to have to slide to the back of this pack and hope he doesn't lose the draft. And taking the lead back is going to be Brian Yosick. Ricky Harden now fighting for 2nd. He's going to take 2nd from Drew Carroll coming out of the trial now as they cross the start-finish line.
And as they did that, they put Jeffrey Gilliam a 2nd lap down because he came into the pits. That's unfortunate. 1 lap down you can make up. 2 laps, not always. But now you see Yosick slid up a track there, Hardin to the top spot.
Well, I think Gilliam came in because he saw that Ehrlich was out there Eckridge was out there and he was one lap down, so his lucky dog position was gone.
Hardin almost got a piece of a wall in 3 and 4. These four are trading the lead back and forth.
While we watch this 4-car battle, a little update. Sean Ambrose has cracked himself into the top 10, getting around Hazard, Pelletier, and Runkle.
And I'm already seeing, I've been kind of watching Drew Carroll a little bit because I know he had a little bit of a problem with it earlier. I already see him getting a little bit wobbly coming out of the tri-oval. So I'm wondering if tires are already playing a role for him on that part of the track. He kind of loses momentum here also coming down the backstretch as Yazik's going to retake the lead. Ricky Hardin's going to try to follow him right behind him, take second away from Drew Carroll. And in the back of that little 4-car pack, there's James Krahula, who he's just kind of back there just watching and waiting for something to happen.
I think the last 2 times around, the lead at the line has been the driver in 3rd place the previous lap. So things looking good for Drew Carroll here.
Oh, Drew Carroll back in the wall.
And so Ricky Hardin in 2nd place. It looks like he'll have a lead.
Yazik got really loose. Oh, he just brushes the wall between 3 and 4. But Yazik had gotten a little bit loose there coming out of 2 also and still killed his momentum. He falls back into the clutches of James Krahula, who's going to take a look on the inside as they go through the tri-oval. This is probably the biggest lead that anybody's had since the restart. It's not that big, mind you, still about 0.2 of a second. But Ricky Hardin now in front.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that could actually hurt him in the long run here. It might help the cars behind him. Oh,
Drew Carroll hits the wall hard. Yeah. That was not slight contact there for him.
And there you see Krahula get that run on Hardin because Hardin had too much of a lead. But Krahula has to back off in 3 and 4. Hardin almost slides up into the wall. Now is Drew going to have to pit here? Yep, it's coming in. That's a shame. I think he'd been looking the second best car of a race behind Scott Eckridge, who could still be contesting for the win later on. Meanwhile, Bill coming up to a magic number at the end of his lap.
Well, I'm happy to say we've reached the halfway point. I both with mixed emotions on that. We've reached the halfway point, and we've reached the halfway point?
I think we're about half a mile away still. They got complete lap 94 here. So here we go. They're coming to the line now. Wait, who's going to lead at the halfway point? It's Yazik now.
Tony Schuin has called it a day. So our 6th place runner is out of the race.
Wonder if there was an incident that contributed to that.
Go back and find out. Hold on 1 second.
Shawn running 12 laps ahead of Sean Ambrose right now, so there's another spot for him.
It looks like he just decided to call it a day.
Meanwhile, Gilliam has not returned to the track since coming down for whatever reason he came down for.
And Drew Carroll remains in the pits as well after bursting the wall.
So I think we've got our 4 lead lap cars still out there. Of Brian Yazik, James Krahula, Ricky Hardin and Scott Eckridge, and then our 2 drivers multiple laps down trying to gain a bunch of spots back, Sean Ambrose and Justin Rudden.
I predicted a podium for Ambrose. He's got a top 5 here in the next 12 laps.
Top 3 still putting on the show though. Krahula loses the lead to Yazik.
Oh, Sean Ambrose.
Oh, Sean Ambrose has blown an engine. You gotta be kidding me.
Oh,
he got up to 8th.
That car is very silent going into the pits here. It's a shame.
He'll lose that position in 27 laps to Justin Rudden.
Sean is making me laugh. That's
he can come in here and talk to us now, can't he?
It'd be frustrating though to spend all that time just trying to put in laps and then that happens. Can they get that? Can they repair a blown engine? Is that the? Oh my goodness! All right.
Yeah, sometimes. I've came into the pits at Talladega before, and my crew told me, nope, take it to the garage.
Ricky Harden here going to take the lead from Brian Yazik. Brian Yazik's going to fight back on the outside as they go through 1 and 2.
Of course, we may still see more cars rejoin the track. Drew Carroll, Jeffrey Gilliam still down pit road.
I think Ricky Harden had almost tried stepping out on him coming out of 2 there, and he might fall back to 3rd here. Yep, sure enough, he's back there. Brian Yazik gets around him on the backstretch. It's amazing. It's, that little bit, I don't even think it was noticeable on camera. Stepping out that much cost him that much momentum.
Drew Carroll has officially retired, so he won't be returning to the circuit.
Well, we did a We Stand United race a few days ago. I think Adam, you were there maybe with us on that one, where we were setting the record of percentage of the ratio between commentators and race drivers. We may break that today.
I think I missed that one, but you might be right. We might just have to each pick a car here before too long.
Well, there's still a good battle for the lead going on here between Krahula and Hardin. Yazik has dropped back a little bit all of a sudden. Let's not forget that Ekrich could still be competing against these guys for the win by the end of this. We're not sure about Justin Rodden because he's 20... He's something laps down. I can't be bothered to count right now. But what's interesting me... Oh, as Hardin gets in the wall... Saves it. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, no. Keep going of it.
He's not done yet. Yeah.
I think the tires are beginning to fall off again.
This is just a crazy ride. I think the entire way down the backstretch, I don't think he was ever pointed straight once. I've thoroughly enjoyed racing against Ricky Harden over the last couple of years, and that's one move right there where he showed how good of a wheelman he is. He was eventually able to gather that car back up and get going straight.
What I don't understand here, and what's signaling to me that I need to repaint all my cars, is that all 5 cars on the track are some shade of black.
Something to think about. Oh, we hear that we can talk to Sean Ambrose here in a minute. That'll be good.
Let's go ahead and bring him in right now. We got the time. Sean, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Man, tough luck with the blown engine, man. I think we heard it blow right behind that battle with the leaders, and just the silence was eerie with it coming onto pit road.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. We wrecked the car early on coming off of 2. Wasn't really original. Everybody else has too. And I figured 7.5 minutes of repair and being a little bit off pace was a good strategy, actually, and it was working out there, and then she just popped.
Yeah, we had just mentioned that you had the top 5 in sight there, Sean. You had Carroll and Shallon and Gilliam all out of the race, ready for you to cherry pick your way to the top 5, and no sooner than the words got out of my mouth, then boom.
Well, here's the good news. They're not coming back. I am.
You are, all right.
I am.
Are you racing Justin Rodden? He is currently 19 laps behind you. You're 20 laps down. He's 39. Do you think you can beat him?
I don't think so. I'm in for, it was 31 minutes, and I think with the 45 second laps around here, I think he's going to catch me. He's not too far off pace. I see he's his last lap was like a 43, so he's still doing pretty good. He's probably going to pass me. But my goal coming into this thing was a top 5, and honestly, I think I still have a shot at it.
I think so too. You know, Sean, remember we did that We Stand United race a few times ago? I guess we did it with Trevor Brissett was our third commentator in there, where we thought the ratio of commentators to race drivers was going to set a record. I think we may break that record tonight.
Rumor has it you just might, actually, because I'm not so sure the guys still on the track are even going to be around much longer. I don't know. I've had a lot of fun. Honestly, the set really wasn't that bad. Big Joe Hassert made the comment when I was driving with him earlier. We were together, and he's like, "Man, you kind of have to drive this thing in a bit," and that's kind of what I was doing with it out there. I was just, driving it around when I was still straight, and but I got caught up in a battle, and that dirty air just really killed me coming off of 2.
Well, this is big news for you. Justin Rodden has just put the car into the pits. Looks like it's a regulation pit stop, just a scheduled pit stop.
Hey, I'll take every lap I can get soon.
That'll buy you a little time. He's doing 4 tires, so just keep that in mind.
I've certainly come to know the guys real well. We've been very chatty and somewhat civil. Some good talk.
Joe made an interesting comment, our director, Joe Peak. He said this looked a lot like a 1970 NASCAR race, the way that the passing was going on. It very much looked like we were watching Petty and Pearson going at it out there.
Yeah, I was only really watching that from behind. Never really found myself up in that. But, it looked pretty cool from the back.
All right, well, you were what's the country singer that used to race? Marty Robbins, that's who you were today.
No, it's the Marty Robbins of the race, yeah. Honestly, I want to give a shout-out to Turn 2 Motorsports and the guys over there. I am going to finish this race. Several guys bailed out early because they didn't want to finish. I'm going to finish this race. This is an endurance race, okay? And I am in to the very end. And they throw that checker flag, I want to come across. That's my goal at this point.
Yeah, Ricky Hardin just came into the pit meanwhile. Something off topic there.
Something race-related of being off topic.
Yeah, well, Ricky, I don't know. Hopefully this is just a regular pit stop for him, because if it isn't...
Kahula's in too.
Kahula's in too.
Yeah, I think these guys have pretty much figured the delta is about 28 laps. I don't think they're coming in for fuel, but looks like they just decided that's where the tires it pays off to come in at.
Well, I can certainly go on a full tank now. No problem.
There you go.
Yeah, if Jarzik pits this lap, I think Scott Eckridge will actually move into the lead, but then... Did he pit after he had his moment?
No, he just served the black flag and that was it.
So he's going to have to pit too.
Yeah, Jarzik and I started to race with a bunch of guys in another channel, and it just got down to us two. And I told him, I said, you know what, I'm gonna bail on you for just a moment and check in with the guys and see how everything was going over on this side.
Well, I think this is big news here because Krahula and Hardin have come out together. Yazik's got to be careful, or he's going to find himself all by himself when he comes in to make that pit stop.
Little unacceptable racing strategy there.
Yeah, I was waiting to see if Hardin was going to give Krahula the boot coming out of the pits, because they got pretty close there on the apron.
How about you, Sean? You want to try any bump drafting at 245 miles an hour?
Oh, Yazik's in. Go ahead, Sean.
You know what? It's kind of funny. In the practice leading up to the race, Don Runkle tried that with me going into turn one, and I can most certainly tell you that just does not work out. Yeah, and one of the things that surprised me when I showed up, because I'm going to be honest with you, I was a very, very late addition to this field. I slammed a burger down and basically joined, contemplated it heavily. I had no idea there were no resets. I thought, we're going to get out of here. It's a fun race. And, maybe there'll be half a dozen resets or something. Maybe even a push to pass. But no, nothing. It's tough to make it through this one without that help.
Yeah, meanwhile, Eckridge has taken the lead but still has to pit. Krahula and Hardin are in second and third, far ahead of Jarzik, who just re-emerged from the pits. I've got to ask Sean, Why are the 5 cars on track out there? Why are they painted black? Is there some advantage to not painting your car?
Ooh, well, I don't know that I can accurately answer that because where I'm at, I can see their cars. So, haven't had any trouble seeing their cars on the track. Are you talking about maybe their base color being black?
Yeah, they're all
Okay,
painted.
yeah.
Like,
He's wondering if that's a secret to surviving today.
Well, I'm driving a black car.
Even yours is
hopefully I'm gonna-
you're in the Budweiser car, but even that one's black. So come on, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I never thought about
the
that.
cars, because they all roll out of the shop with black, and then, you know, you paint other colours. Well, some teams paint other colours over them. You know, Furniture Racing, Martin Truex Jr. didn't do that for a long time. But does that paint weigh the cars down? Does that make them more loose?
Well, I think they're just being sympathetic to the commentators that have colorblind problems.
Trouble with their rods and cones.
Yeah, makes my life a lot easier.
No, I don't think the paint has anything to do with it. I will tell you what has to do with it is the right rear tire. The temperatures coming off the track in the right rear tire are absolutely crazy, up over 300 degrees. They're just blistering them off.
And there goes our leader. There goes Harden and
Yeah, they
now
just
around
blew by
Eckridge,
Eckridge.
yeah.
and-
Well,
Eckridge, I think, just let go of it. Yeah, now your guys are right. He's coming onto the pit, so let's see if if he's just a normal pit stop or if he's going to continue on here or what the deal is. But he would be due for a normal pit stop about this time.
Yeah, I'm hoping he does, because I really think if we get another caution, although granted it'll be hard to have one there with only 5 or 6 cars left out on track, Eckridge could definitely fight for the win at the end.
Nine more laps, Sean, until Rodden gets around you there. So just tell your
And
boys to hurry up.
Eckridge is continuing on. He's pulling away.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. I was going to say, Soup, trust me. I'm watching my timing and scoring. I'm trying to do the math in my head. He just picked up another position, actually. Rodden now up to 11. So he's closing quick. I think he's going to catch me. Fighting for that top 5 is going to be tough.
How is Hardin fighting to stay on the tail end of a lead lap right now? Did he have to serve a penalty or some sort?
No, he waited, I think, for Krahula and maybe got a little bit of that front end damage repaired so that they could have a drafting partner to come back out with.
Ah, so he's on the tail end of a lead lap right now, but Krahula staying behind him would mean that Hardin would get to catch up with the leaders if a caution flew. Of course, he'd get the lucky dog if he was the first car 1 lap down.
But you'll notice that they're both unacceptable racing teammates, so, you know, that's right there. They're probably on the horn with each other to try to set that up. Real quick, I mean, it's going to be really easy to do, guys. Let's go through the field just real quick. James Krahula running in first. He's second car in line there right behind his teammate, whose teammate is getting really loose. Hold on, guys. Before I go on any further here, I want to make sure Ricky Harden's able to gather it back up. Okay, he's back going straight. Really, really tough time for him there going through 3 and 4. All right, so James Krahula is running in second. Now, way back, 8.3 seconds back, is going to be Brian Yazik. He is running in second, of course, way back there. And then we're going to go right back to where your leader was, right in front of him. In third place is Scott Eckridge. And Scott Eckridge was just blew by of those guys. That's the difference between new tires and old tires there, if you just caught a glimpse of that just a second ago. So he now takes away third from, from Ricky Harden, and Ricky Harden is running in fourth.
You know, you made that very difficult for only 4 cars, but I got it. Let's keep going a little bit. Let's go down to 5th position. That's somebody who's not racing. Drew Carroll, Tony Schoen, Jeffrey Gilliam. Let's go down to 8th position. I'm going to let my partner Crackers announce that one. Who's running in 8th, do you think, Sean?
Excuse me, 1 second, guys. I think James Krahula just made an announcement about possibly ending the race early. So stand by for that.
Okay. Then that's another spot for Ambrose. Ambrose is not giving up the ghost.
Well, Ricky Harden really, really fighting to hang on to that car right in front of his teammates still.
Yeah, and that's actually going to
Oh,
hurt
look at-
his teammate. That's going to allow Jarzik to run him down a bit.
Sean, I hate to ask, but I know you're still in here listening. Could you get James to repeat that a little bit about what the plan is for the end of the race?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Give me just a minute. I'll check back with you guys here in a second.
Justin Rodden is actually watching the broadcast as we talk about it. He appreciates. Hey, Justin, we hear you, buddy. He appreciates us calling his spots as he picks up more spots. Rodden inside the top 10 now, running in 9th. A lot of talk going on between the drivers are trying to eavesdrop in on.
Okay, James Cooler's saying there'll be a caution with 30 laps to go if there's none before then. So that means they'll have a competition caution at lap 158, which is in about 40 laps from now, to kind of that will bring Scott Eckridge back into fight. That'll bring Ricky Hardin back into the fight. Sean, will it bring you back into the fight?
I think it certainly will. I'm just looking forward to getting. I'm looking forward to getting back on track and finishing this race. I honestly am.
Well, I'm just glad it's not what I first thought, and that they might be trying to call the race with 30
Right.
to go, and just a competition caution.
We almost had an actual caution. Brian Jarzik almost lost out of 4.
Yeah,
Let's get a replay.
those tires
Something happened.
gone for Jarzik and his teammate Hardin.
Look at that.
You don't
that'll
want to get
help
any of that
Scott
yellow
Eckridge.
line down there.
Is that the truth, John? If you get down there, the car gets squirrely? You get down low?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Soup. It's really tricky down low. I mean, it's at full speed. My car was handling just fine down there, but no, it's really wicked down there. And if you get any of the yellow line, a little bit of that apron, it's impossible.
What do you think of a new build, Sean? Is there anything that's popped out that's different from previous weeks on iRacing?
You know the coolest thing we saw this evening was the starting grid lights. They flash now. They don't just go solid green. They flash green. That was pretty cool. They messed with the lollipop guy a little bit again, and he's got even more of a hip look now. So that's kind of cool.
I'd like to see, and I think our director Joe would appreciate this, if for the Formula 1 races on iRacing they actually did 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 lights, and they all go off. I'd like to see that.
I always
Well,
felt the
it-
lollipop.
They're all need a new graphic.
Sorry, had to do the Picard thing. Had to go all Star Trek on you guys for a minute.
I always feel the lollipop guy had a bit of an attitude when I pulled in, so I hope they kind of took that away from him.
Yeah, no, he's much more hip now.
Okay,
Zoot.
cool,
He's,
cool.
Yeah, he seems like the kind of guy you'd want to hang out with, almost. You know.
Good.
All right, I've officially been passed, guys. So, but I think it's time for me to get ready to get back in the car.
All right. Go get 'em.
Got now just about 10 minutes left. So,
Well, thanks for joining us, Sean.
hey, it was a blast. Like I said, I can't wait to get back in the car. I'm gonna finish the race. I promise.
Just
There you
got you just got an apology from Justin Rodden. Sean, I'm sorry as he passed you in that spot. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go say
Go run
hello
him down.
and thank him for that.
Okay, talk to you later.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Believe it or not, we actually still have 4 cars on the lead lap now that Hardin's back in
Oh.
front of Kahula.
You know, and I got to say, usually we do these broadcasts, and they're always a lot of fun, but, we're usually a lot more formal. And tonight, it's kind of a little bit like letting our hair down and getting out, having a good time, just like the guys out there are. And just want to say it's a pleasure sharing the booth with you guys here tonight.
I'm in it for the long haul now. I want to see how this thing plays out.
Whoa, look at Harden
Oh.
there. That tri-oval. That tri-oval. We're
Kinda
gonna ride
got-
along, or we're gonna go to a replay here. We're gonna watch Harden. We're gonna ride along with him, and and you'll see, rounding 3 and 4 here, start heading down the front stretch. Those grandstands start getting really big, and then that exit of the tri-oval ends up getting him causing a little bit of a moment.
He's still loose. He almost loses it in 3
Oh.
and 4. He is losing it in
Can he-
3 and 4. He saves
He
it.
gathers it up. Still fighting it.
We'll see it on the replay.
Boy, he's still, even right now as I'm talking, the car is he's really being evil.
Yeah, and I think Kahula's just checked out from him. He realises Hardin is more of a danger to him now than he's actually helping him. And there you see the moment that Kyle Busch saved there. So now all of a sudden, Ricky Hardin's best friend is Scott Eckridge. In order for him to get the lucky dog on the lap 158 caution, Eckridge needs to stay on the lead lap.
Well, and that's if Harden. If I was Harden, and this is just me, I might go ahead and start thinking about coming in the wall again, right at the start-finish line. Get those fresh tires now, that way you don't have to pit again before the competition caution, and try to make up what ground you can, because in the condition that your car's in right now, you throw a pretty good chance of throwing it away. And Ricky's a great wheelman, but there's going to be a certain point, a threshold there.
Well, the problem with that, Adam, is what if you pit and lose a lap and you're not the first car 1 lap down or whatever, although in Ricky's case, Ricky would be 2 laps down, wouldn't he? But what if he did that and then an actual caution flew, trapping him 2 laps down?
It's almost one of those ones where it's a risky take. If he was to pit right now, he would only be a little bit, I think, behind Krahula by the time he came back up to speed. So with the fresh tires, I really think he'd be able to get right back around Krahula and get back to being 1 lap down.
And Kahula could probably afford to let him back by anyway, because he's got a 14-second lead over Yazik.
Yeah, I don't think that they're teammates. They wouldn't help each other out, at least until the end of the race.
Well, 30 laps to the competition caution, and everyone has to make a stop. Everyone, all 5 cars on track are going to be down pit road at some point in the next 30 laps.
Speaking of cars on track, did Sean back out there yet? No,
Not
but
yet,
I see him in the car. I see him in the car.
But big news here for the number 12 machine. Justin Rodden just passed for position Jeffrey Gilliam. Rodden up to 7th now. Maybe not the most exciting pass I've
Well,
ever seen,
he's only 5 laps away from breaking into the top 5.
That's it. And one big one away from winning.
It'd have to be an awfully big one right now. These guys are spread out.
Oh, but that yellow flag's going to bring them all together. One
This is
mistake.
true. This is
takes them
true.
all out.
Hardin's in.
I really think this is a smart play by Ricky here.
Here he comes into his pit stall. Is he going to hit his marks? Yes, he hits his marks really nicely. The crew is going to run around. The invisible ghost crew lifts up the right side. They're going to change his right tires.
Scott
Now
Eckridge
they're
is in as well.
running around to the left. Oh, I was trying to make that exciting. There we are. Eckridge in too.
And Krahula just now got onto the front stretch. As you see Harden pull away, he will end up behind Krahula by the time he gets up to speed, but those fresh tires, keep in mind that we're talking about, you can measure the difference in seconds between fresh tires and old tires. Yeah, okay, I said that right. Fresh tires and old tires.
But honestly, with the known competition caution coming out, your main goal is simply just to be within 1 lap of the leader, or be on the lead lap or the car leading the 1 lap down.
Right, and with Eckridge coming in, that'll change things a little bit right there as well. But at the same time, it's a gamble, and sometimes in these races, it's all it is a gamble. If Ricky Harden can stay just being one lap down, we'll have to see where it plays out as far as Eckridge is at. But if he ends up not being the lucky dog, well, maybe he can get a quick caution or something. But the condition he was in, I don't think it was worth throwing the car away.
Yeah, Hardin just flipped by Kahula and got back to being only one lap down. I almost wonder, the thing you just mentioned there, Adam, if Scott Eckridge pitted intentionally one lap after Hardin so that he could try and trap him a lap down when the caution comes out.
It's a chess game, and especially when you only have 4 cars on the track, and you got to play that lucky dog position because it's going to come into play. So that would not be a bad move on his part.
So Sam, let me get this straight. You're saying that Eckridge would prefer to be in third place, one lap down, but the lead car one lap down, than to be in third place on the lead lap, because then that brings 4 cars back into the battle, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
That's pretty smart thinking. Devious.
It's like I say, one of the best things that happened to the NASCAR Trace drivers this year was Chris Buescher taking a race win. The drivers in the NASCAR Trace want Chris Buescher to run into to make it into the Trace. Not because, not saying anything bad against Chris, but let's be honest, he's probably not going to win the championship. So,
right,
he's
one less guy to worry about. Yeah,
one less guy to worry about. Yeah.
Well, if Scott sticks around after the race for an interview, we'll ask him if he was that calculating.
Just to warn you guys, they were joking around a little bit ago about all trying to come in here at the same time. Just saying.
I think that would be good.
That would be fun.
Meanwhile,
anyway,
the top 5 cars are now on track.
So there you go. Top 5 cars now on track. And let's go ahead and mention who they are real quick. James Krahula running in first. Brian Yazik running in second. He's 12.3 seconds back last time at the line, but a little bit of fresher tires. He's been able to close that back down by about a half second last lap. Third right now, Scott Eckridge running 1 lap down. Ricky Harden also running 1 lap down. And you're now running in 5th place, Justin Rodden, the Iron Man Award for the race, 40 laps down, 5th position.
Here comes Rodden.
Yazik in ahead of him. Yazik could actually lose second to Eckridge here because Eckridge has been out there on new tyres for the last few laps.
Rodden's only 39 yellow flags away from lucky dogging himself back onto the lead lap here.
Yeah,
so you're saying he needs 39 cautions here.
That's it. Krahula out.
We got close to that a couple of races ago at Bristol.
Don't remind me.
Alright, so Yazik and Krahula coming back out on track. Eckridge is at full son, but he's only just come in through the tri-oval now.
I think it's going to work out pretty good.
But he has older tyres in the top 2 right now, so he's not going to catch him in the next 23 laps, and actually it's going to hurt him when the caution flies now at lap 158, because Ricky Hardin, I think as a lap down, will get the lucky dog. Actually, I think Ricky Hardin, he's on the lead lap now, that's right, because he had newer tyres for longer than James Krahula has.
But that Bristol race, whew, I tell you as a driver, never, ever, ever, ever again do I want to have that many cautions in one race. I couldn't imagine what it was like up here in the booth for you guys.
Well, I almost wonder, Justin Rodden coming back down into the pits, that's not good. Hopefully he just got a black flag for speeding, yeah.
Well, I don't think he's going to fall back into the clutches of Drew Carroll anytime soon. Probably safe from Tony Schuin. Sean Ambrose, hey buddy, get on the roll, because maybe Justin will get another pit penalty here, and you'll only be 12 cautions away.
Oh, he just blew up Ambrose's car.
What?
It just exploded.
Sean, buddy, come on, man.
Back to work, boys.
Nah.
Yeah, Rodden's still stationary. That's okay. Now he's rolling. I'm almost wondering if the top 4 cars just stopped on the apron on the backstretch for about half an hour, right? They take half an hour break. They could let Rodden get back on the same lap as them, and then we'd have a 5-car shootout.
I don't think we're going to be able to sell them on that. I mean, you could go in there and try talking them into it, but I don't think it's going to work.
50 laps to go.
And I think Scott Eckridge is trying to do the Jaws theme right now. And he is actually only about 2 seconds off from Brian Yazik.
So all 4 drivers back on the lead lap now.
Amazingly, Eckridge is catching Yazik despite having all the tyres. In fact, Eckridge is the fastest car on track. That shouldn't surprise me too much, honestly. He was dominating earlier on.
Hey, Justin is relaying the idea in chat right now.
Oh yeah, he's watching the broadcast, isn't he? Yeah. You know, if we didn't have a caution, if we did not have this competition caution, it would actually be a close finish between Kahula and Eckridge at the end.
It very well could, as Eckridge is going to go ahead and make a nice solid move. Of course, slightly fresher tires than what Brian Yazik has. He goes right around, going back into second.
I think by announcing that there'll be a competition caution at the end, Kahula has actually cost himself a win to Eckridge.
You know, and looking at lap times here, Kahula is quite a bit faster than his teammates, Ricky Harden, but I don't think he's going to be able to get past him. Even playing teammates and all that, I don't think he's going to be able to get past him by the time the competition caution comes out. So that's, we're going to have 4 cars, and Lucky Dog isn't going to play a role.
Hey, all you fans in Texas, stand up because the 71 is rolling. Sean Ambrose brings that car somehow back out onto the track.
He's got to do 11 laps and it will have the top 6 cars on track.
Did they go borrow an engine from Smokey Eunuch or somebody?
Yeah. Well, Sean likes to barbecue up the brisket. Maybe he was just trying to get a little extra smoky flavor there before bringing that out.
And pulling out the Budweiser after, I'm guessing too, huh?
Now the next car behind Ambrose on track right now, track position wise, is Rodden. Should Ambrose almost slow down for him and try and take Rodden out so he can get 5th position?
What exactly are you advocating here, Sam?
Something happening. Talking about something happening though, we do have a good battle on for 2nd. Eckridge has not ran away from Yazik after he passed him. And this is going to bring them...
I think the tires equalized out between the two of them, and of course now you got the aero coming into play as well.
They actually lost a bit of time to Kahula that lap. Oh, and Eckridge gets loose off of 2. Don't throw it away. All you've got to do is not lose 40 seconds in the next 15 laps and you'll be right back up there with the leader.
So am I correct that Harden just went a lap down? Is that what I'm seeing there? The 15 car just got passed?
Yep. That had to have been a... To go back and see, yeah, I think he got into the wall a little bit between 3 and 4. Yeah, he broke loose. Ended up having to slide it up the track to catch it, broke loose again, put her in the wall, and that's what kind of helped him get away. Of course, I think Kahula had gotten around him just before that, so maybe he ended up having some problems before that as well.
Harding can't... Okay, this is a problem for Harding because his handling is off now. But he can't afford to pit in the next 15 laps. That will put him 2 laps down. And unless he could then unlap himself from Kahula one time, the Lucky Dog wouldn't help him.
he's going to have to go 31 laps on a set of tires that is having a hard time keeping him on the track right now.
If it's one of those things where Ricky might just want to back off a little bit. He doesn't have to push. He just has to stay back in front of Krahula coming back around again. Just back off and you can take that one lap down to the lucky dog here in a little bit.
Eckridge is letting Jarzik back by for second.
They're talking about it with Eckridge's tire temperatures right now. He's already thinking that he's burned it up, and I think Jarzik had a moment in front of him.
Jarzik was going high. It looked like he was going into the wall.
With those two tangle, Rodden could be looking at a podium. Right, they would have to tangle in the next couple of laps because Rodden is 42 laps down. So if these two crash into each other and out of a race in 2 laps, they'll still finish a race ahead of Rodden.
But either the trick is if Jarzik or Eckridge want to pit, they could probably pit as long as they came out in front of Harden. Because you're going to get...
Well,
you just don't want to be
the pit.
Yeah.
They just pit a little while ago.
Well, that's right. They don't need to do that.
All these drivers right now, they just need to cruise around without losing a lap for 10 laps. Unless you want to be really evil, Adam, and you're Brian Jarzik and Scott Eckridge, and intentionally drop a lap down so that Harden doesn't get the lucky dog in 10 laps.
And we saw what we thought maybe Eckridge thinking about that earlier on. Of course, this is before we knew about the competition caution. But I don't know. I think him and Jarzik are close enough to each other that they'd have to do it together, or I don't think it'll happen. And besides, they probably know it's a fun race too, and they want to go ahead and have 4 cars racing at the end of this thing together.
If it was a points race, I think that might be the strategy. I think they're looking forward just to get into that competition yellow and getting it all together and having a nice 30-lap shootout. That's assuming that Harden's going to be able to get it there. That car is evil.
Any race is a fun race until 20 laps to go.
Harden in the wall again, man. He's doing everything he can to try to hang on.
10 more laps, Ricky. 10 more laps, buddy. Sean Ambrose out there. Just a couple more circuits around, and Ambrose can get around Tony Schowen and Drew Carroll. And then, as Sam said, we'll have our top 6 cars all out on the track.
Well, somebody get out there and tell Sean to hurry up, then. You can run that fast, can't you, Bill?
That's it. 6 cars, 3 commentators. Tell you what, boys, I'll take Ambrose and Rodden. You guys split up the top 4. We'll cover
I'll
that
take
one.
Jarzik and Eckridge.
There you go.
I guess I'll get Krahula and Harlan.
Feels like I'm a fantasy football draft. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, so, I mean...
Ricky. Hold on to it, buddy.
Yeah, well, that's Ricky's unique story. Krahula's unique story is his lead-in, and Jarzik and Eckridge are fighting for second. Oh, I thought I just saw a caution, but it must have been a wonderful mirage.
I think it was that yellow line starting to play tricks on you.
I've got my collection of South-Pacific show tunes if you guys really need it, so let me know.
So what are we going to see when this competition caution comes out? We're going to see the more
Pit stops.
Yeah. And assuming that there's no major changes in pit road, I mean, the 4 are going to be fighting for the win at the end. Harden's going to be off the pace a little bit because we've seen his car's a bit beat up. So it'll really be a toss-up between the other three, and I just don't see how they can beat Eckrich.
Well, I think that... okay. Whew, for a second there, I think what... If I could just... wasn't mistaken, I think I just heard Ricky pop in the clutch. I'm wondering if he's thinking possibly gas. When was his last pit stop? I don't think gas should be too much of an issue for him.
These guys are all about 25 laps is the most anyone's been out there.
He's trying to save gas right now. He is doing more than just letting off. He is popping the clutch and letting her coast. He was one of the first cars to come in after his car was getting really squirrely that first time around, so he's probably just trying to stretch it on fuel just to get to the competition caution at this point.
Well, he probably didn't fill it up all the way thinking there's no reason that he would ever have to go a whole stint. So
very well could be too.
Yeah, he didn't have a full tank probably when he came out of the pits.
It's weird to see someone saving fuel at 220 mile an hour, but yeah, it's definitely not giving it full son down the straights.
And here's big news. Sean Ambrose has made it around Drew Carroll to move up into 6th position.
So all top 6 cars are now on track. And of course those are Krahula, Yazik, Eckrich, Harden, Rodden, and Ambrose. Rodden and Ambrose, 42 and 58 laps down, respectively.
Now, to take this strategy a little farther for Rodden and Ambrose, now, they are 42 laps down with only 30 to go at the competition yellow. There's really, you would think, no way for them to catch the leaders. Unless they all take each other out. That's their only hope.
That means we'll be here for
a while.
Half hour behind, yeah.
So who's going to be Obi-Wan in this case? Man, I'm just loading up on the nerd references tonight.
Okay, now with the top 4 wreck, does that mean we would have another competition caution when Justin Godden hit lap 158?
Oh, mercy.
Of course, what would be really interesting is if the top 4 wrecked, but they were all in the pits getting repairs, and we were watching the guys in 5th and 6th go around, waiting for them to catch the leaders, be like, who can get the repairs done the quickest?
I just heard somebody in the wall. Oh, Rodden just put it in the wall.
Watching him. Rounding 3 and 4, and I think he has his troubles in the tri-oval here in just a minute.
Yeah, well, with Ambrose out there 16 laps down, putting the pressure on him, he's driving for all he's worth right now. There we go.
Woo! Just steps out, gather it back up, route it to the wall, straighten her out again.
What's our live viewership right now? Do we have a...
1, Justin Rod.
Justin Rod.
Let's talk about manufacturers here. I'm very curious as to what kind of cars these drivers are all running. Let's see our leader, James.
Chevy
they're all
Impala.
Chevy, okay. Oh yeah, of course. That's because that's the only manufacturer they have back for the COT, isn't it?
Just in iRacing. It was the only one that iRacing had the license for at the time.
Yeah. Okay, that would make sense then.
Kind of nice. We could possibly have a Dodge out there if they would do that.
I tell you what, the Dodge, the Gen 6 that they had.
Did that car look good? And it never saw a racetrack. Yeah. Yep. I agree.
I'm still waiting for the Ferrari.
Well, iRacing has a special announcement next week. Who knows?
Delta Wing, baby. Delta Wing.
You know, strangely,
Right.
I would be okay with that. Strangely, I would.
I would too.
Caution!
And a caution, competition
Woo-hoo!
caution.
There's a streaker on the track. It's Talladega.
I'm on fire! I'm on fire!
All right. So Harden has to hustle around here. He is 1 lap down, but he still has a little bit of driving to do, right? Because he's got to bring that car all the way around. He has 1 more lap to put into the rest of these guys.
And as they get it all sorted out here under this competition caution, we're going to go ahead and come to break, and we will begin this show in just a few minutes. And we are back. Try to bring you the last probably about 26 laps to go when we come back to get the green here next time by. James Krahula in the lead. Ricky Harden now, at least right now, running second. I think maybe he might have to drop back since he got the lucky dog. Might be waiting on that. Yazik currently in third, but he's going to move right around Harden here, I believe. And Eckridge should start in third or fourth. And Rodden, still on the track, 42 laps down. Sean Ambrose still out there. He's your car behind the pace car right now, I believe. No, that's not. That's
they
James
just
Krahula.
got waved around, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my fault. I was still sitting in replay mode. So Sean Ambrose is coming back around, but he, 58 laps down and 2 blown engines later.
Yeah, Yazik and Eckridge just pit under the last lap of caution to give themselves extra newer tires for this final run. Now, Krahula stayed in during his pit stop. He was in it for an extra long time getting repairs. And then also, I think Hardin is going to have to come in a couple of laps because he was speeding down pit road after he ran out of fuel under the caution.
If he was speeding in the entry, he should have been able to serve it with his pit stop. But we shall see. We are back to green. James Krahula out front. I guess Ricky Harden did not have to drop back with the lucky dog, so he is sitting in second right now. Teammates up front, and they're going to have to hold off the charging horses of Yazik and Eckridge.
Trying to work out why they all restarted single file. It looks like it's so they could tandem.
I think the black car's going to win here, boys.
It could be that grey one of Eckridge. I really think if he gets out front, he could pull away from them.
Yazik's able to get out to a decent lead here. So how long will Eckridge and him work together? My guess is not very long. Eckridge kind of looks to the inside just a little bit, pulls back in line as they go through 1 and 2. So 25 laps to go. Do you go hard now, or do you try to save at least a little bit of something for the end of this race?
I'm not sure, but what I love is that 5th and 6th actually running in that order. We actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on track in that order right now. But I think it is going to come down to the long run. The driver who takes the best care of his car, it will help him in the long run. The problem is Eckridge has to get by Yazik in order to pull away from him.
And speaking of Ricky Harden pulls right up to the back bumper of Brian Yazik, lets off just a little bit as they go into 1. Kind of his teammate back there, James Krahula, kind of had to get off the gas as well. The slow up was that sudden. But Yazik's still on the outside of Eckridge here as they go down the backstretch. Eckridge going to hang tough here, I think, as they go through 3 and 4.
But Adam, it's the high side that's easier on the tires, right? So I'm not sure how much you want to fight this early like that.
Exactly. It's easier on the tires in the long run, but it's definitely the slower way around.
I think Eckridge did the smart thing though in getting up front, because I think he's the fastest driver, and I'm almost wondering if Yazik should just settle in behind him in second place here and ride behind him until the final few laps and then try and make a move for the lead and the win.
Well, it's almost a catch-22, because if you're riding behind somebody, like right up underneath their rear spoiler, you're taking that air off your front end, which also means you have to turn a little bit more. It's that aero-tight condition, and that's going to cause the front tires to burn up that much more. So it's really a catch-22.
Well, right now it's a catch-24, and Yazik does that, and he gets underneath Eckridge for the lead there, but not able to make a pass.
Eckridge is going to slide right back down in front of him on the exit of 2 here. Everybody so far with the new tires, cars handling nicely. They're staying right in line. No dangerous, crazy moves just yet.
And of course, we always need to emphasize on iRacing that there's no green-white checkered, so they could just be racing until 5 to go. Oh, I don't like what Eckridge did there. He left the top lane open.
I would be willing to put down $1, guys, on all 4 of these guys coming across the line sideways at the end of this race.
That's what Rodden and Ambrose are hoping, but they hope on having said one lap before that. And while I love Rodden and Ambrose racing out there, I'm telling you right now, if this race finishes under yellow because of a caution created by them, I'm not calling their name ever on another broadcast. They will be Baltimore. They will be the driver who shall not be named.
Well, the commentators curse. They might be thankful for that there, Sue.
Good side-by-side battle going on
Look
for
at
the
this.
lead here. Yeah, but Jarzik is burning off his tyres out there. They're holding each other both up, and Harding closes in.
They're going to have to start getting really careful about that there on the exit of 2, though. You're already starting to see Jarzik have to try to drift up a little bit more to catch the car.
Oh!
Ricky Hardin here, he's going to get aggressive on the backstretch.
Where was he going?
I think I caught Brian Jarzik a little off guard there with the aggressiveness where Ricky Hardin came from.
Yeah, thing I'm a bit worried about Ricky for, as we've seen him struggle in the long run, so I'm not sure how much he really wants to fight these guys this early on. Saw a good quote the other day. I think it was from I can't remember who it was from, actually. Oh! So we watch a battle down the back straight again. It was, the more you take care of your tyres at the start of a run, the more they'll take care of you at the end of a run.
And that's kind of why I'm liking Krahula right now.
I am
Krahula
too.
isn't doing anything fancy. He's just riding, staying right up there. And I bet he's probably three-quarter pedaling it right now, too, on top of that.
Now, director just told us he's not doing a whole lot right now. Because we got all four in one camera shot, but Jarzik goes to the top spot. Catch that, director. Yeah.
Eckridge might drop all the way back to third here, maybe fourth.
Yeah, I think he got a little bit of the wall.
Oh. He'll get back up there. Alright, so Jarzik, sitting pretty. You don't often hear Jarzik and pretty in the same sentence, but I'm saying it right now. 17 laps to go.
So just your top four right now. Jarzik, Hardin, Krahula, and Eckridge all running in that top pack right now. And, of course, only 6 cars on the track. 5th place belonging to Rodden, 6th place belonging to Ambrose. They are not in contention here for the race win.
And pit road is completely clear. Everyone else has officially retired. Change for second. Krahula takes a spot.
I'm not sure if... Oh, there goes
15
Ricky.
loose.
Woo! I was for sure he was going to go around there. Joe pulled his feet off the desk. He's going to grab the replay here. And as they come around 3 and 4, once again, it's that edge of the tri-oval there, that end of the tri-oval that's really catching people off guard.
And Eckridge will let him retake third place. I don't know why Eckridge is content to just ride around in fourth for now.
You don't see a car step out that sideways that often. Somebody actually save it.
Oh, Hardin's still loose on the track.
Eklund said he was a little bit scared on that one.
And Ricky acknowledging finally that he's having a little bit of fun being that crazy. Woo! Car is dead sideways. So now we're getting to the point of the run where all the cars are having to lift on the throttle in order to keep it grounded going through the corner. Seeing the speeds come down a little bit. So tires becoming an issue. Who saved their equipment for the last 14 laps here?
Boy, they almost tried 4 different lanes going through the tri-oval there. Krahula drifts up, but still holding on to second. He hasn't tried anything on Jarzik yet. 13 and a half laps to go. No change for position, 13 and a quarter laps to go. You'd think Kahula saved his stuff a best here, but he's got to make a move at some point. Yazik's doing a good job of holding on, because it doesn't seem it has been that easy to pass today.
3 laps to go. 3 laps to go, I think, is the magic number where that's when things are going to go crazy. You don't want to do anything too early, and you obviously can't do anything too late.
Well, the problem is, if a caution came out with 5 or 6 to go, that would end it. But then the other thing is, no one else on the track but these 4 is going to bring a caution out with 5 or 6 to go, unless Sean or Justin goes for single
brushed
car
the wall
spin.
there. He kind of got a little bit squirrely coming out of the trial, just scraped the wall just ever so slightly. Kind of killed the momentum of the whole group. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Sam.
No, I mean, something happened. Go talk about it when something happens, but I think we're going to see a lot happen in the final 10 minutes here.
I just think Soup's glad that we're not going to hit that 4-hour and 55-minute window for the session here.
Honestly, I'm enjoying the racing. This is real good racing. I find it kind of ironic that one of the things we talked about was how long can you go? Oh, and look at what's going on behind him. My goodness.
Eckert said, I'm done, I'm going. I can't be behind Ricky any longer.
Can he clear them all? I think he can. Yes,
here comes
drifted up and almost got
here
in the
comes
wall.
Krahula.
These guys have got to work together now. I think what we've seen here is Scott Eckridge saving his tyres at the back, knowing that if he let the others burn theirs off, that he could get out front when he wanted to and pull away, because he seems to have a better setup. I don't think it's worked though. I think the others could eat into his lead again.
Yeah, it really is who's going to have the best on not just old tires, really, really old tires. 30 laps is such a long stint.
Tell you what, though, I think these guys are out here having fun. It's watching these guys; they're all over the place. They're getting racy. These last 10 laps, I mean, even with only 4 cars on the track, I really do think it's going to be something else here.
I'm wondering. I mean, you're going to have 3 of these guys who are going to be a bit upset, I'm sure, when the checkered falls that they didn't get the win, because they've all had a pretty decent shot at it. I should imagine maybe Ricky is questioning it a little bit, considering he's had handling issues. But the other 3 have all had the good shot up front.
Well, you know, another thing to mention, too, is that these all look like cars, with the exception of Krahula, that pretty much look like they've been run at Bristol. I mean, probably up front at Bristol, had a good day at Bristol, but still Bristol.
Eight laps left to go as they come across the line.
I think I would keep my distance away from the 15 car. I think Hardin is really doing his best to keep that car off the wall.
I'm still holding to it. I don't think all these cars are going to come across the line straight.
Boy, Yazik is making a move. He really got close to Krahula there down the back straight. Yazik just moved up into 3rd place by Hardin, but other than that, they've pretty much been holding station.
I'm telling you, they're saving it for the last push. I think Eckridge got in front almost to just kind of test to see if he could still do it. Found himself that far out in front and said, you know, I think I'm going to stay here for a little while and see what happens.
And while I think Hardin's car is probably the worst of the 4, him sitting in the back there might be the best position. I really think it's really possible that those 3 cars all get together.
I'm going to go out on the limb and say, unless Eckridge grazes the wall again, which he has done a few times today, I don't see how anyone can get around and pass him. They can get alongside him, but I don't think unless Eckridge puts it in the turn 2 wall that anyone can really beat him to the line.
Well, look at what Krahula's doing. I don't think it's because of handling so much that he's backing up his corners a little bit. He is, I think he's back there saving his equipment. He's taking enough of a gap between him and Eckridge that he's able to keep the air on the front end and help him turn the car. I think Krahula is going to be okay. And he's don't worry about Yazik right there getting by him. I don't think that's going to play too much of a role unless Yazik slows him up too much. But even then, if they just get right back in line and catch right back up to the back bumper of Eckridge. But I'm really liking Krahula here.
So, Bill, I've got Eckridge. Adam has Krahula. Who you got?
Believe it or not, I like Yazik. I'm glad I was asked. I think he's in the best position. I like the 55. I think he's look for him to make a last lap move. Either that, or I still not have my money off of Rodden. I think he's got a real chance to win this one as well. I'm serious.
You almost think Ricky Hardin should just back off here in case the top 3 tangle.
Yeah.
A caution would end it at this stage.
And right now, you really can't afford to be. I know you want to be patient and wait for that last lap snipe, but you really, with that caution lurking, Yazik really needs to be thinking about getting to the front here.
Eckridge grazed the wall there on the exit of 2, just ever so slightly. Just enough to kill his momentum. And here comes Yazik right on his back bumper as they go into 3.
I thought I said something a little while ago like he shouldn't do that. If he doesn't do that, he'll win. And he did it.
Coming to 3 to go here this time by. I tell you, now is the time, with a couple of tenths between each car, you've got to start making a move now. You can't wait to 3 to go, or until 2 to go, or 1 to go at this point. You got to start going now and start making your power moves.
Protect the bottom, Adam? Is that what you do here?
If I was Eckridge, absolutely, I would be protecting the bottom as much as I can. The problem is that, that's still going to burn up your equipment a little bit. So you almost kind of have to do the old, what Kyle Busch has became famous for the last couple of years, along with the likes of Keselowski, is almost try to move between lanes and try to break up the draft a little bit. But I would be a fan of just keeping it on the bottom.
Hardin is Krahula's teammate. That's why he easily let him by for 3rd there. And
2 to go.
Yeah, Krahula's repaying the favor. Don't know why he's doing that.
Eckridge kind of running more the middle line now. He kind of try to diamond it off coming out of 2. This is where he grazed the wall a little bit last time by. Keeps it off of it this time.
Bump drafting in 3rd and 4th.
There won't be a caution on the final lap. If they can make it through the tri-oval and to the start-finish line, we will finish this race under green. And that means if they can make it to the line, one of these 4, well, not necessarily that they'll win the race.
And they're spread out enough here now. I think people waited too late to start doing something.
No, I think Yazik is going to get a really good run at Eckridge on the back straight. Eckridge didn't go all the way to the bottom. Now he does. He late apex turns 1 and 2 so that he could make sure that he didn't graze the wall on the exit of 2.
Yazik catching up a little bit. See that relative going down just a touch, but starts to spread out again on the entry to 3. I think Eckridge just has the car here as they come onto the front straight. Yazik is too far back. They're going to go through the tri-oval. That distance is staying the same. Eckridge is going to bring home the Talladega 500.
And Yazik wanted to make your prophecy true. I would say he was definitely out of control there. Probably on purpose, but he got 2nd. Hey, let's go back. We've still got time to get the drivers in 5th and 6th. Here comes Justin Rodden.
Said Bristol cars earlier, and that definitely looks like a Bristol Martinsville car right there. Rodden's going to bring it home in 5th place, 41 laps down, but hey, he finished. That's
And
always the
here
important thing.
Yeah, and here comes Sean Ambrose coming to get 6th.
Brings
Well
the king
done,
of beer
Sean.
machine home in 6th position.
Well, guys, I tell you what, let's go ahead and take a quick break here now that everybody's crossed the line, and we'll run down your final finishing order when we come back. Well, and that was the nice little finish there to the Premier Racing League Talladega 500. Of course, we brought together 3 different leagues tonight, Lionheart, Premier Racing League, and also the IROC Series. And, the show was interesting to say the least. Let's go and take a look at your final rundown here. Winner, Scott Eckridge, about 0.14 of a second over Brian Yazik in second. James Krahula bringing her home in third. And fourth place, Ricky Harden. Man, how many times he had to save that car tonight. And in fifth place, Justin Rodden. Definitely, we called him the Iron Man for tonight. And Sam, go ahead and take it.
Yeah, in sixth place we have Cian and Brosse, and then in seventh position we have Drew Carroll, 96 laps down. Tony Shoem was in eighth place, 97 laps down, and then Jeffrey Gilliam and Jason Rabarge were running up there about a lap down or so for most of the race, ended the race over 100 laps down, Bill.
In 11th, it's Big Joe Hazard, who just nipped Norman Pelletier 115 to 116 laps down. In the Baker's Dozen spot, Don Runkle. Then we go down to Pierre Nightingale, 14th position, 130 back. 12 laps ahead of Ricky Monzo, who finished in 5th, 152 back. Adam?
Jonathan Lawrence brings her home 16th. Michael Gray, 17th. Ryan Bird, who was making a nice play up front before his accident, 18th position. 19th, Robert Barney. 20th, Chris Gutierrez.
Yeah, unfortunate to see Robert Barney out early. 21st position, Woodrow Mahan, he went for a wild ride. Brian Hubble also out early in 22nd, only completed 6 laps. Trevor Bissett also out early, he came to talk to us, 23rd. Mark Nobert and Calvin Falasky round out the top 25 there, Bill.
187 back, same as Falasky, is Dylan Pesky. Lee Carson, Abby finishes in 28th position. David Luce Cannon in the 28th position, 27th for Abby, and then Jesse Fowler did not grid. Okay, who do we got for interviews there, Adam?
Well, first I just want to comment on Cannon real quick. That was the ultimate commentator's curse because I went on about how he was my favorite car design and he ended up being the first car out. But anyway, here we're going to do things a little bit different than what we normally do with our broadcast. And it was actually suggested we do this in the race by the drivers, and we're going to go ahead and oblige. Before we do basically the craziness of bringing everybody in here, I want to talk to Scott first. Scott, man, yeah, that was definitely interesting. You were running up front almost all night. You ended up getting back behind a little bit thanks to an incident. Before we let everybody just kind of have at it, tell us your thoughts.
Oh yeah, it was a good race. It was real tricky. I don't think everyone was expecting what tonight was going to be, and I guess we saw that with how few people were left.
And it seemed like definitely those cars were just a handful to hang on to after about 15 laps.
Yeah, if you took care of it on the early laps when you could run wide open, you could, it was manageable. But if you abused it even slightly, you would be fishtailing in the try over there.
Well, just want to say congratulations again on winning the race. Sean Ambrose, late to the party as always. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of have an open forum here for a couple minutes. You guys suggested this in the race, so we're going to go ahead and let's have fun and just start talking about things.
First off, I'm sorry.
Keep it nice.
Man, I thought this would have been a lot more fun. I thought we'd had a couple more people, but I mean, that car was fun to drive. That was definitely interesting, and also. Well, I was gonna say, I had fun. I don't care about what you thought.
No, here's the thing. It was old school, man. Like, it was fun wheeling that thing, kind of driving it off the right rear. It was really a whole lot of fun. But you're out of your mind if you thought, oh, let's just take these guys, take the plate off, turn them loose at Talladega, and it'll be all right.
He did say that.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, it was completely James Krahula that did this.
Yep, all James.
Thanks,
I'll take the blame. Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Hey, Ricky, it's Soup here. I heard some funny noises coming from your car before. Were you saving fuel to get into that last pit stop? And man, it was banging like you had a wrench loose in there or something.
I ran out. I got the lucky dog, and I ran out of fuel while I was trying to drive back around, and I had to coast into the pits. I had it turned off a lot, and then when I turned it back on, it started sputtering, and I was doing about 80 miles an hour, and I made it off at turn 4, so I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to coast, but I'm going to try.
It was exciting.
It was definitely exciting. I enjoy the way these cars drive, man. They're very difficult. It's almost like a cross between Michigan and Darlington, and maybe a little bit of Indianapolis in the Indy car. What does everybody else think?
I think you're wrong.
I think it's great.
It really what it felt like.
You need more. We need more people that knew what they were doing.
Well, that's a different subject for a different day. It kind of, to me, it just kind of drove like a real stretched out Talladega, or not Talladega, of course, that's where we were, California. I mean, just the way that, by the end of it, I mean, if you guys were watching, the way that Scott and I were taking 1 and 2, we were, really taking a very late apex to it.
Yeah, I can see that. That's what I meant by Michigan. Michigan, California, whatever, the same thing.
I should have known that Brian Yancek was just going to dominate this post-race discussion when we brought everybody in.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I felt myself hanging on for dear life the last 8 laps of that race, to be honest with you, because I think it was one of the first times I actually got down to like less than 5 gallons of fuel, and I blew as my second motor of the night cutting donuts.
Oh yeah, same here.
Sean, we thought we saw a blow up for you in the pits. Did we see something there, or that before you came out, didn't it blow up again?
That was kind of strange. I noticed it too. I was getting ready to head back out. I think there was about a minute and a half left in my repair, and all of a sudden I hear bang and a puff of smoke out of the back. And honestly, the motor did not fire up until the time actually expired. So I was on edge. I'm like, oh, please start up. Please start up. I could have started my last episode of Narcos or something, It's like at 31 minutes in the pits. I was hoping that thing would start back up, and it did. Guys, I had a lot of fun. Thanks for letting me run with you tonight. 6th place, I'll take it, man.
Brian Yancek, when's the next podcast? I was listening to the last one. You reached 150. I listened to it tonight. I'd be honest with you, I dozed off before I heard the exciting news at the end. What's the story there?
Podcast at the end. Catching me off guard there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong.
Is it possible Soup overheard talk of Don Runkle and Sean Ambrose having a podcast together?
Boy, there's a whole lot of that we can say here.
That might be a subject for a different show.
What was the name of it again? The High Line.
The High Line.
No, I'm not going to promote that. I'm sorry.
It was that was all between Sean Ambrose and Don Runkle Jr.
No, I said very, very little, if I remember correctly. So anyway, but yes, that's probably where Super Podcast.
There we go. Sorry.
Well, you guys, I just want to, we gotta start wrapping things up a little bit. And man, I cannot get a word out edgewise all of a sudden. I want to thank each and every single one of you guys. I mean, I know 500 miles is kind of tough, especially when you start running out there a little bit more by yourself and everything. And of course, thankfully, it got a little bit more pack racing again with the competition caution that you guys threw. But I just want to thank you guys for coming in here. I think it's kind of the first time, at least I've ever been a part of GSRC, that we kind of had a little bit of a driver's forum here at the end. So once again, thank you guys for sticking with us here through the end. And you put on a good show, even if you didn't think you did. It was a good show.
I think all of us just have to say to all the broadcasters, you guys are the real MVP, because calling 4 cars for 200 miles, that takes talent.
Well, Ricky, when you stick it as dead sideways as you did as often as you did, you definitely help keep it interesting.
Yeah, I think I melted the bead on the right rear.
Well, hey, once again, guys, thank you. What I want to do, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I want to thank the Premier Racing League for putting on this event and allowing us to broadcast it. Thanks also to the companies, equipment, and software that you see on your that you see on your screen that we use on our broadcast. The music you've been hearing on today's and all other GSRC broadcasts belong and are composed and produced by Eric Ickham and Casey Lalonde, and information is on your screen on how to contact them. A big thanks to you, Sam, and you, Bill. And if one of you guys want to do me a favor, go let Joe out of the production truck. That'd be great. I'm pretty sure he's hungry by now, so be careful, and extend my thanks to him also, but maybe after some food and water. And of course, Joe Peak used camera placements designed by Dougie Beard. If you'd like more information on GSRC, our website is globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSRC Channel, or GSR Channel, and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. Thank you for watching tonight, and we hope to see you again next time. Until then, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.